very lively work, diving across me to play a jingle as well. So Dick Weller is up and running. He's got 4 from 2 face from Chris Wokes. Thuranga, the non-striker, he's yet to face. In comes Chris Wokes. And this is ramped beautifully up and over, and 1 bounce for 4 more. They've gone off like a bullet from a gun.
That's a Dick scoop.
Whoa, a Dick scoop.
Nurashan Dickwell is a very aggressive batsman. I don't think I've ever seen him play. I mean, that was the left-handed version of the Dill scoop.
It was
directly over the top of his own head.
Absolutely beautifully done by Dick Weller. The Dick scoop sounds like a medical implement, but nonetheless, it was highly effective in that instance. Sri Lanka 8 off 3. They've set about this chase with great intent. Wokes is in again, and nicely forward comes Dick Weller. There is, of course, a man at cover, and there's no run. The man was Ben Stokes doing the fielding there.
Yeah, shortly we'll get you the jingles in time-honoured guerrilla cricket style for the dramatis personae.
Yep. Well, we know it's Messrs Dick Weller and Thuranga, and we know Chris Wokes has opened the bowling. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Ollie Stone. I don't know about you, Knuckle, but I think an international debut for anybody is a big event.
I mean, technically his international debut was in the game that was rained off, and he had nothing to do.
Well, yeah, that's cool. That's true enough. First time he'll actually do something. In comes Chris Wokes, leaning into this and just letting it run off the outside edge of his bat down to third man, where Liam Dawson does the fielding. Nets him a single. He moves him on to 9, and Thuranga on to strike for his first ball.
Jingly jingles.
Let's do it.
He's on Instagram, and he's a Twitter fan. On the Ashes tour, not Ben Stokes, but he'll have to do.
And he's going to conclude his first over. Quite an expensive one, actually. The 9 so far.
Oh,
this one has taken the outside edge into the gloves of Jos Buttler, and England have their first wicket. And Dick Weller, who had started off...
No, it
it's
wasn't.
Thuranga, I beg his pardon. Thuranga has gone first ball.
Well, I didn't get to play his jingle, so I'll give him a little bit of that.
I'm not in gloves, so don't forget it. That's just a silly phase that I went through.
And he is
gone.
He is.
On your bike, mate.
Well, he may not be in gloves as per that jingle. His very first ball went into the gloves of Jos Buttler, who gratefully snaffled it. And Chris Wokes will be very happy in the end, having given away 9 runs, ends up with a wicket.
It was a cracking delivery, it has to be said. Pitch just on leg stump, just moved away at the last minute. Thuranga had to play at it, and just got the faintest nick through to Jos Buttler. It was a beautiful delivery.
Absolutely. Well, highest score in ODIs, Thuranga, of 174. Was it Thuranga? No, I thought it was Dick Weller. Now you've really got me confused.
What's that?
Not to worry. I was getting confused as to who was actually out.
It was Thuranga.
Yeah, it was Thuranga. I thought so.
Yeah, Upal Thuranga gone for a golden duck.
Yeah, and it's going to bring Chandimal to the crease. So Sri Lanka would 5 balls in will have been thinking
that's good.
This is great, and then all of a sudden rocked back on their heels.
It's this man
by Chris Wokes.
Chandimal, you're unstoppable. Except they suspended you over 8 ballyhoo. In T20, you lost the captaincy. Oh, Chandimal, you're unstoppable.
Here we go.
It's Ollie Stone.
Oh,
right arm fast. Do we have a jingle for him?
We do indeed.
Well, as we said, it's not his debut, but his debut consisted merely of taking his cap and watching the rainfall. And this one, what a first ball! International cricket slanted across Dick Weller and into the gloves of Buttler, and Dick Weller played and missed and was beaten hook, line and sinker to a ball that just shaped away and was a coat of paint from the off stump.
Right, this is a jingle I haven't heard. It's for the new man.
Squared him up magnificently.
I wish my papa was a honest soul.
Comes Stone again, this one down leg side, and I suspect that will be a wide. Well, there in 2 balls is
Ollie Stone.
what you have to know about international cricket. It's got a facial hint of David Willey about him, I think, just a little bit, as young Stone. In he comes again, right arm. Oh, that one is absolutely through Dick Weller. Swung in and into the gloves of Butler. Dick Weller played all around it, but it was just a shade over middle stump. And no wicket, but my goodness me. So 2 absolutely cracking deliveries and 1 horrible ball down leg side.
I mean, the first ball jagged away off the seam. The second ball has jagged. The third ball rather has jagged in a mile off the seam.
And Josh Butler is clapping his hands above his head. In comes Ollie Stone. This one's shade onto leg, and Dick Weller just turns this away with the movement of the ball. Adil Rashid is going to be the man at long leg who does the fielding, and they will take a single.
We should have a jingle for the man before he gets out.
Well, Mr. Chandamal.
Is it the non-striker's end?
I know he's at the non-strikers end, but I had to get his jingle in because I like it.
Indeed.
And we should tell someone who's asking us again, no, we can't show video because we haven't got millions of pounds to buy
In
rights.
comes Ollie Stone. This one's quite wide, but he's getting a bit of lift, and that extra pace is already making a difference, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's not bowling lightning quick, but he's bowling high 80s and getting considerable bounce from back of a length. He is reputed to be very much a hit-the-deck bowler, bowling hard lengths.
He has the 91, 92 mile an hour ball in him when he needs to pull it out. He's bowling, as you say, high 80s at the moment.
He does look a bit like David Willey, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he? He's bowling the 5th ball of an eventful first over, and that one jags into Chandimal, catches him sort of slightly amidships, I think. Rolls away into the offside, and there's no run.
He's in the test squad as well, isn't he? Or is he?
Ollie Stone?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Interesting.
Getting significant lift off a
Didn't he
off the back
just?
of a length.
That was
That's not even a short ball by any means.
No,
It was a new ball.
Lift off a length. Doing very nicely indeed. Well, what an interesting start. In he comes again, and that one once again is right on a length. They will take what I guess is a leg by, because I didn't see any bat on that. Neither was it a leg, but it was somewhere between the top of his thigh pad and the middle of his stomach. Ball away into the offside, and they get a run for it.
Yeah, Ollie Stone not conceding a run off the bat in his first over in international cricket.
He'll be more than happy with that first over. Shame about the extra.
Yeah, we've got a few people with us on Twitter for the start of this second innings. Messages literally just as the Bear put Facebook back live, of saying that it was pushing up the daisies. We've sent a suitably snarky tweet back in a response. Parks, Blue Strings Park says, "Morning all, coming to you live from beneath a cosy Saturday morning duvet. It's pleasant." Spangly Sai says, "Right, hangover reducing bacon sandwich and cuppa in hand. I can now start to watch this without worrying about my head dropping off."
Glad to hear that. Chris Wokes is going to be bowling his second over. He's bowling it to Chandimal. The right arm over, Chandimal shoulders arms, it's through to Josh Butler, who takes, you can see very immediately the difference in pace there, because Josh Butler was taking that one down by his ankles, whereas the balls that are coming through from Ollie Stone were
but I suspect
taken at waist height and above, weren't they?
It's not just the pace, though. It's the angle of approach, and Ollie Stone's a very tall man trying to dig it into the pitch. Wokes is bowling much fuller. I don't think there's probably only 2 or 3 miles an hour in it.
He's bowling from the scoreboard end, and he's in and up, and very correctly Chandimal high elbow to play a back foot defensive stroke there, and no run. So 12 for 1 Sri Lanka.
So a quick hello to some people on Quick Tracker: Rash
Warm
Kishore Martu, Mahabat Afghan, Diva Das, Tahir Abbas Gondal, and Akhtar Mohammed Hijran. Good morning to you all.
Good morning to you all.
Well, it's probably
Good
afternoon.
morning, good afternoon, good
Warm
evening,
welcome
wherever
to
you are.
our newly decorated studio.
Indeed.
In comes Wokes, very correctly again. Chandimal high-armed pushes this back to mid-off, and there's no run.
Broadcasting from inside the ship of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Well, yeah.
Where's Hal?
It's certainly got
H-A-L.
Open the green room door, Hal.
Yeah. Let us out.
Indeed. 12 for 1 England. Dick Weller going along nicely. 2 fours to his name. 9 off 8. Chandimal yet to score. Wokes is in to Chandimal. Up again, and this one is crunched away through the covers. That bisects cover and extra cover, and will go straight for 4 runs. Super shot.
2 + 2 is our man.
Hasn't Chandimal has been scored a couple of tons, didn't he, recently? In well, not that recently, maybe, but Test matches has kind of kept them together.
Don't know. Chandimal's a class act. Yeah. It was a brilliant 180 odd he got against India in a Test match a few years ago that won them a Test match. Yep. There's some talent in this Sri Lankan lineup for sure.
In comes Wokes. Oh, and that one just shades away and beats the outside edge of a rather tentative push from Chandimal. And it goes through to Josh Buckley. Yes, highest score in ODIs, 111 off 118. Some years ago, 8 years ago, 2010 June against India at Harare.
Now, yes, as we were positing on as our emails were flying around going, there's actually a reserve day for this.
Yes.
Now, there's a big cloud over to the right. Hopefully it won't arrive before 20 overs are done.
Yeah, let's
but
hope.
what happens if it does? Does the game carry on from this point?
Very solidly defended by Chandimal. Wokes stoops, fields off his own bowling.
I believe that's the case. There's no point in them having a reserve day and restarting.
So it just carries on from where they were overnight.
Yeah,
okay. No, that's fine. I was wondering whether they completely restart the game again.
No, that would be pointless.
It would be pointless.
I mean, the 2014 tour, actually, we did a game that had a reserve day, and I came in for
I remember that,
me and a very ill Dan Lucas.
Yes.
He was coughing his way through 2 hours of nothing.
Oh dear. Chandimal was brought into the nondescripts club by none other than Kumar Sangakkara. So
and presumably
fair sponsorship there, I think, to kickstart his first-class career. In comes Ollie Stone now. Oh, and well, my word, he got that one to lift and bounce, and he's got him. Dick Weller has gone. That was really lifted, took the outside edge.
He didn't know where it had gone, did he?
Well, I'm not sure I did. It really lifted, and not a short ball. And I think that's, again, as Knackle pointed out earlier, it was a ball that reared up off a length, took the outside edge. Josh Butler did the rest, and Dick Weller now has gone, and England have started off on fire.
Interesting to see what this hit did hit. Yeah, the top glove.
Yep, he was actually defending his face. And it took the glove, looped up, and it was probably the easiest wicket-keeping catch that Josh Butler will take in his entire career.
That
I would
was
imagine.
An absolute brute
what
from Ollie Stone.
It was the very definition of a snorter, wasn't it? What a terrific delivery.
It was just back of a length delivery, maybe just verging on short, which Dick Weller had to try and defend from in front of his chin, sort of his teeth. And really just ended up punching it straight up in the air.
It was absolutely self-defence. It was a boxer on the ropes.
And dead straight. There was Dick Weller could do nothing about that. So the 2 wickets that Sri Lanka have lost today, they've had Upal Taranga first ball to a cracker from Wokes, which it's exactly what you don't want as a left-hander. It looks like it's gonna just be a clip off the hips, and then it moves away from you at the last minute. You have to play. It takes the thin edge, and then one which you just have to flail at and hope you don't get anything on.
Well, he did. It was a flail. It was it really reminded me of a boxer who's getting punched, and he just threw up his gloves and was just trying to protect his face,
hoping for the bell.
And hoping for the bell. And what he got was the glove. So it brings Pereira to the wicket.
The Kusal variety.
The Kusal variety of Pereira.
Yet another wicket-keeper batsman.
Best of 135 in ODIs.
One of the replacements in a Sri Lankan blazer. The bowlers broke down, so what do they send? Another keeper batsman to join all his friends. Colombo's a go-go, but now he's in Soho. Poor little Pereira.
Off at the press box end, Ollie Stone is going to be in. His tail will be well and truly up, and again he gets that ball to rear up off a length, and it takes Kusal Pereira on the chest.
Kusal Pereira, let yourself go.
So, interesting enough, he's actually walking back to his mark, shaking his head as if he's, I'm not quite sure where I'm getting this lift from, Wallet. he's certainly got something. He's getting some life out of this.
Maybe
pitch
he just couldn't believe that didn't loop off the glove to second slip.
How come I didn't get my second wicket?
Would you put a short leg in?
I would. If you're getting this kind of lift and off a length, I absolutely would. In he comes, his right arm over. This one just strays onto leg stump, and Pereira is able to push it away to square leg, and they'll take a comfortable 2 or 1. Did they take 1 or 2?
2.
They took 2. I thought it was 2.
That's the first runs Ollie Stone's conceded off the bat in his career.
in his international career.
Yeah. Buster Wilson says, do you guys have a bar fridge at your new place? New place?
New place.
Well,
there's not room for a beer fridge in here, my friend. It's all wood panel glory.
We've prioritised where we've done the decorating, or where, I say we, Bear. I'll tell you about it in a moment. As Ollie Stone's right arm over and in, and this one squares up Pereira just that little bit, and it takes the edge, but 2 point, and there's no run. Yes, we've done it. The studio has a magnificent green screen. It has incredible new lighting. We have the 3 chairs that actually don't make us look like fat old men.
No, we look
which are basically miracle chairs.
We look like we're on the bridge of the Enterprise.
We do, yes, that's right.
Oh, you know, we could probably
you would
do
that, yeah.
Mr. Zulu. Mr. Zulu and Bear, I think you can be a hurrah for me today. I need to get you one of those funny little wiggly things to put in your ear. However, yes, so we have...
you just missed Pereira defending a
I beg your pardon, I did.
Offside.
Yes, and we have invested in the studio. However, the green room does still need a bit of work, Bear, I think it's fair to say.
It's just got too much
seating. You've got to get your priorities right.
Bear's unleashing his inner Kevin McLeod.
Yeah.
He's doing his interior design. In comes Ollie Stone. That takes the inside edge onto the pad, and I'm not entirely sure that Pereira had a faintest clue what he was doing with that. And it concludes a terrific over. 4 overs done. Stone has 1 for 3 from 2 overs. Pereira on 2. Chandimal on 4. Sri Lanka 18 for 2. How are we doing on tweets?
Yeah, Ravi Nard confirming what we were talking about. For the Bear, the playing conditions of this series include reserve days to continue for the game from where it left off, not to restart it.
Okay.
I was talking about, and Cricketing View says, I swear I read your wicket update as Dickwella did his eye in with the dick scoop the first time.
Did it? Well, Kusal Pereira is 2 from 5. And Sri Lanka, well, they set off a bit like a bullet from a gun, didn't they? And then all of a sudden, the first ball of the final ball of Woakes' first over, pegged back, and then
I mean, it was really just that boundary that Dickwella scooped over his head.
Yeah, well, there was also a good cover drive in there, so there was 2 fours. In comes Woakes. This one just quite full, clipped off his toes. And Ollie Stone back in the game again, running around from long legs. So
Ollie
they
Stone
will take
game.
2. It is the Ollie Stone show right now. I always feel a bit sorry for fast bowlers who just put their absolute all into a rip-snorting over and then settle back to long leg, what they think is a rest. And the very first ball...
I think those days are done, aren't they? You've got to learn to enjoy it.
Well, I think he probably is. I'm sure his adrenaline is pumping at the moment. And Woakes this time is in, and Chandimal is very nicely behind that, actually, just to push it to extra cover. There's no run. Yes, the putting the fast bowler out down to graze at long leg, expecting not to see the ball, is just the pure variety of shots that players play are more likely to bring into the game these days.
Well, and also the fast bowlers are usually tall and athletic and strong men in general, good throwing arms.
Well, I think that describes Ollie Stone to a T, actually, from what we've seen. In comes Chris Woakes, his Warwickshire colleague, and that one, well, I think was going down leg. Woakes thought about an appeal.
I think it was too high.
It was a bit too high, probably sliding down leg, but the important thing in the context of this run chase from Sri Lanka and England's defence of this total is that we've seen sufficient movement and pace and bounce from this opening attack, and the decision to go all seam. We had a little chat in the green room, didn't we, Bears? Might they open with a spinner, but
they clearly didn't.
Fully vindicated in going all seam first up. In comes Woakes, and got him an inside edge onto the middle stump. Chandimal is gone. Woakes has his second wicket. Sri Lanka are rocking at 20 for 3. Well.
And I should bring you up to date in the West Indies game. They're not doing too bad. India now 173 for 4.
Oh, right.
A master blaster. Virat Kohli is gone. LBW to Holder for 45 or 78. Rahani's not out on 19, and Rishabh Pant is 9 not out.
Yeah, that's at T on day 2.
Was T, yeah.
Kohli reviewed it, and it was turned out to be clipping the outside of leg stump.
Oh, gutted.
I mean, it was out. It was out. He shouldn't have reviewed it, but they don't lose the
13
review.
balls Chandimal lasted for his 6. Chopping on from Chris Wokes to give Chris Wokes his 2nd wicket. And Sri Lanka, Knuckle, it's fair to say, are rocking.
They are
in
rocking.
the wrong kind of rocking way.
Yeah, the little bit of pace, it's skidding onto the bat. There's a little bit of late movement, and Chandimal trying to just force that into the offside, completely cramped for room, and dragging that onto the stumps. It's been a very good start from England's fast bowlers.
It has. As I said, vindicating the decision. So I know David's listening there in the green room. He's can't wait to see Liam Dawson bowl. He's a big advocate of the talents of Liam Dawson. So I'm hoping that David will be on comms when Dawson is bowling to talk us through what the mighty Liam does.
Well,
Shanaka is
the new man.
New man at the crease. Do we? I'm sure we do.
We do have a jingle.
For him.
It's this man.
Came here from Sri Lanka as an all-round devotee. He bowled okay, but with the bat, he averaged less than...
In comes Wokes, and he takes the inside edge, and he gets the streakiest of streakiest 4s to get himself off the mark, and he knew literally not a thing about it.
It's me,
Well, goodness me.
It's me, she.
The pitch at the ODI Dambulla Stadium has a reputation as being one that suits all types of cricketers. So the batsman who wants to score runs, the fast bowler, there's a movement and bounce, and the spinner. And so far it's playing pretty well. Yep. Particularly given the downpour the other day.
Well, it is, that's true. 24 for 3. Shanaka is off the mark with the streakiest, as we said, of 4s. In comes Chris Wokes. This one he's comfortable to leave. Joss Buttler just stooping away to his right to take that in front of first slip, actually. And telling indeed that England have 2 slips in place. Clearly feeling that they are very much on top and on the hunt for wickets here. We're just looking at that dismissal of Chandimal again, and it was, as you rightly said, Knuckle, he was all cramped for space. He was looking to try and just maybe fence it away on the offside. Took an inside edge, and Chris Wokes had his 2nd wicket. So Dasan Shanaka, yes, he has a highest score in ODIs, 65, which he got at Pallekele versus South Africa this year in August. So he knows his way around the bat with the bat. He's not a veteran of ODIs. In comes Ollie Stone, and forward comes Pereira to Owen Morgan at cover, and there's no run.
Can I just go back to these playing conditions? So what happens if does the game end if Sri Lanka face 20 overs?
Well, they don't need the reserve day because it's a game. If Sri Lanka face 20 overs, then it's a game.
It is a game, okay.
And
Duckworth Lewis
comes into effect.
So they don't just go, sod it, we've got the time, we'll play it on.
No. Ollie Stone is an interesting run-up. What a superb, fast Yorker. He has a look back over his shoulder at Pereira, as if who barely was able to get the bat down on it. It was through him as well to the wicket keeper.
That came in, didn't it, as well?
And
that went away from
the outside edge as well.
That's Malinga's very good at doing that, where he gets the Yorker to go away from the batsman. That did go. It's the in-swing Yorker to the right-hander.
In comes Stone again. This one on leg. So this one is nicely worked away by Pereira. Adil Rashid is the man at backward square. They'll take a single. I'll tell you, he reminds me of a little bit. Certainly not for pace, but in his run-up, he has the lowered arm slightly more upraised, but there's a hint of Tim Murtagh in the way he carries his arm. Murtagh carries it more down by his side like a century.
If you look at him side on as well, there's a hint of Jasprit Bumrah.
Is there?
In the way that he's got his hands out there.
His left arm's very straight.
Yeah.
It's not out to the side like Bumrah is. He's got a very long delivery stride.
But you watch him run in, it's very much like that. A bit like Morning Walker with a pterodactyl as well running in.
Pterodactyl. And the dinosaurs. In comes Stone, and up onto his toes goes Shanaka.
Yeah, the left arm is...
Jason Roy is the man at point. There's no run.
Sorry, Tony. Yeah, the left arm is sort of held out to the side. It's not the classic sort of pumping up and down. It's slightly held out to the side, but then he gets into this beautiful long delivery stride.
He does.
It's just we're constructing different bits of fast bowlers run-ups.
Because it's an identikit.
Because that long fast bowler's run-up reminds me of Brett Lee. We have that very long last delivery stride.
Well, in he comes now. And again, that's quite slingy ball, and it takes the outside edge. Where Gully would have been, Adil Rashid is the man to do the tidying up at backward point, and there's no run.
Yeah, he's got a very good, strong action. He accelerates through the crease. He gets a bounce from a disconcerting length, and as we've just seen, the Yorker from the taller man can be devastating.
Yeah, well, what I do like, from what I've seen so far, is he's clearly pumped up. The adrenaline is flowing. He's got himself a wicket, and there's genuine aggression there.
But good control with it.
Well, so far, good control. He's straight onto leg a couple of times, but he's in now. Drops that one short. Pereira happy to duck comfortably underneath that. That would have been one for the over, except that is the over. So Ollie Stone completes his third over. Not a bad start to international cricket, allowing for the fact that his debut consisted, as we said, of taking his cap and then putting his feet up and watching the rainfall. So it's odd situation, really, isn't it? To be really playing your first match that's not your debut.
No. Yeah, I mean, you have a little chat with Darren Goff in the middle. You get presented your cap, and then
job done. Then off you go.
And then
that's it. Come back on Saturday.
Count your poker winnings.
26 for 3, Sri Lanka.
I'd also like to say that listening to some of these Jeff Perko jingles, like Pradeep, etc., this was the first series where these guys fully got involved with the jingle making.
Yeah, the Sri Lanka tour of 2016.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Chris Wokes is going to be continuing, and indeed, why wouldn't he, given that England have made such an impactful start. He's rolling in now, right arm over, and he gets this one to really move away from the right-handed Shanaka into the gloves of Butler. Again, doesn't quite have the pace of Ollie Stone, but he's generating sufficient movement early on here with the newer ball.
Yeah, he's been England's best seam bowler. Well, probably not true Liam Plunkett, but Wokes has been a very good limited overs bowler for England for a number of years now in this still, I think, new look England and post-2015 World Cup.
Captain Owen Morgan is clapping his hands. He realises another wicket and England would be really, really on top and on fire. Shanaka's on top of that ball from Wokes, though, pushes it away into covers. There's no run.
Well, they're not the strongest side anyway, aren't they, batting? I mean the middle order is their engine.
Their bulk of their run scoring was going to come from Dinesh Chandimal and probably Niroshan Dikvala, and they're both been dismissed. And now into Kusal Pereira can be devastating, but can also be very inconsistent. Shanaka and Pereira are both hitters.
In comes Wokes to Shanaka. Oh, and that was a wafty. It's actually been given as a wide, which I find extraordinary. Close. As you may have heard Bear's exclamation of horror, because it looked like he was drawn into the shot there.
Yeah, he did.
Wide.
Yeah, sorry. Shanaka and Tessara Pereira are both hitters, and then Dhananjaya De Silva. Actually, Dhananjaya De Silva was scheduled to come in at 5. They've promoted Shanaka above him. Dhananjaya De Silva is more of a stroke player.
This will be my last over. If someone can come in after this over, I've got to go and run off.
In, and that moves away once again from Shanaka. Very similar to the last ball, actually. And to be honest, it didn't look any less wide. So
no, I think it started straighter.
But Wokes has 2 for 20 from he's halfway through, allowing for that wide. So he's bowled 4 balls, but he's actually only technically 3 balls through his 4th over. Sri Lanka 27 for 3. Kusal Pereira on 3. Shanaka 5. Wokes turns and begins his run up, all thundering intent. But this one strays onto leg stump and is worked away to long leg. Once again, the on fire Ollie Stone is in a floppy hat and sunglasses perched atop of his floppy hat, is the man to do the work at long leg.
Yeah, and the blue floppy hat is also something David Willey favours in the one-day clothing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So similar clothing, similar facial aggressive expression.
And he's got the sort of blonde, if you can have blonde grizzle, but certainly got blonde grizzly stubble.
Grizzly stubble.
Are they half brothers?
I don't think.
They've
both played for Northamptonshire at some point. I think there the similarity ends.
True. Interesting, we have an all Warwickshire attack. All Warwickshire attack. I always think it's quite interesting when you get international attacks that are
I can't think they'll have played that
same
much
as
together.
county. Well, no, because obviously, in Ollie Stone's case, obviously he has played a lot for Warwickshire. Yeah. Chris Wokes, of course, has been away on international duty a lot. Very good season for Warwickshire, of course. In comes Chris Wokes. Is bowling to Kusal Pereira. Kusal Pereira just nudges that to mid-on. There's no run. The man doing the fielding there was David's favourite player, Liam Dawson. He's clapping his hands to encourage his teammates.
Hopefully,
28 for 3.
He's just hoping there'll be some game for him to participate in.
Well, yes. Yeah, there's another one, of course, who... well, most of the England team, to be fair, didn't have much to do on Wednesday, did they? So it was a common problem for all of them. In comes Wokes now. This one over-pitched slightly and stroked very stylishly, but actually for no run because it went straight to extra cover.
Well, that's it for me. I've got to go off and take my daughter to Wimbledon to run across country. Joy of joys. So Alex is going to take over for me. I will see you on Wednesday.
See you later, Nige. We don't actually have that many tweets. Get your tweets in, everybody. Tweet us at Gorilla Cricket and give us the benefit of your wisdom and thoughts and whimsy and all of those lovely Saturday things.
All of those things.
Abhishek Chopra says, so Root doesn't mind giving Rashid the ball in the ODIs, right? Certainly doesn't. Joe Root is...
no, I
sorry,
say not.
Other Rashid is second only to Rashid Khan in terms of ODI wickets taken since the 2015 World Cup.
Ah.
Well, just over 100, I think.
Well, that's a useful stat.
He's been a superb operator for England in the limited overs format.
251 Sri Lanka need from 43 overs.
We welcome Alec to the jingle chair.
Hello there.
Hello
Good to be
again,
back
Alec.
again.
Welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
Looking very much like a sort of late 1970s doctor.
Yeah, I am
Who.
a bit. I am. Yes, it's the waistcoat, isn't it?
It's going to be Ollie Stone again.
Oi!
That one
Ooh.
takes the out. Does it take the outside edge?
Oh,
Well, it
no.
beat the outside edge of Shanaka, and again there was that extra lift, that extra pace, and it's making these Sri Lankan batsmen really think and giving them a really challenging time out there. Joss Buttler took that a shoulder height.
Yeah, again, that just back of a length, just nipping away. He's done possibly a little bit too much to take the edge.
And he comes again, and not the most elegant of defensive shots, but Shanaka did the job. Slightly squared up, but pushed away to mid-on.
Also,
again, there's no run.
Also, did you see where that hit on the bat? It hit right at the top of the maker's name, right near
It
the
did.
splice.
It did, it did. I see what you mean about his delivery stride as we're looking at this replay as well.
The leg
It's a
goes way up.
big, long stride, isn't it?
The king of the very raised front leg was, of course, Patrick Patterson.
Yes.
It's not quite that exaggerated where the toe seems to be pointing at the sky.
In comes Ollie Stone again. Right arm in now. This ball of a fullish length on off stump is just pushed away into the onside by Shanaka. No run.
That was interesting from Ollie Stone. He went a bit wider in the crease there,
He
so
did.
a little bit of thought as well as the
He did, he
aggression.
did.
It's good to see.
Be interesting to see how long you can sustain this. Don't forget the humidity and heat there is not kind to fast bowlers, and not kind to fast bowlers who are thundering in, giving it their absolute all.
I'd imagine he'll get 5 overs, maybe
Yeah,
6.
I would. I think probably 5. We'll see. And this one again just moves away a little bit from Shanaka. Drew a stroke, which I think, to be fair, he then withdrew. But that was a sort of elbow upper arm height as he did that. And I think Sri Lanka are finding it distinctly uncomfortable facing young Ollie Stone.
I think by the time he'd got into the position to make a decision, the ball was already past him.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Maybe you may think it was a more theatrical withdrawal of the bat.
I mean, he was nowhere near it.
Indeed not. Stone again turns. He has this rather century-like run in.
Ooh.
And this one was uppishly nudged back. He dived away to his left. It went to mid-off in the end, and Moeen Ali did the work there. Grubby has popped in, waved, and popped out again.
It's quite impressive to be
I think
early
he's on his way.
It's quite impressive to be early on a ball that was 87 miles an hour.
Yes, indeed. And he all dot balls this over. And he's about to bowl the last ball. Can he turn this into a maiden? He's in now to Shanaka. But no, Shanaka rocks onto the back foot, swivels his hips, pulls this away just in front of the square leg umpire. There's a bit of a race between Stokes and Rashid from long leg and square leg respectively to see who fields it. Stokes it is the man who did it. Thinning top these days, we've noticed.
Just a little.
It has
more
thinned.
and more, isn't it? It's
It
thinned
has thinned.
dramatically.
Ravi Nair asks, in an abandoned game like Wednesday's, do the scores still count towards the batter's record? Runs,
Yes,
knockouts,
they
etc.?
do.
Certainly do.
I'll tell you why I know that, Ravi, because I was actually trying to work out whether I needed to redo all my notes, and I suddenly realised I did. And we were
Just
making
for the top 3.
Well, we were making just for the and the Sri Lankan bowlers.
Yes.
But we were making the comparison with football, which it doesn't matter if you score 10 goals in the first half of an abandoned game; those 10 goals don't count if you're a footballer.
Oh, really?
No, but they do count.
Sure.
They do count if you're a cricketer.
Sure. Josh Holland actually makes the correct point to Abhishek Chopra that actually it's not up to Root who bowls in ODIs.
Yeah.
Oh, and Morgan, of course, the limited overs captain.
There you go. Well, I'm sure they confer, but you're right. Owen Morgan, I like his captaincy, I have to say, in ODIs.
Yeah, he's created an atmosphere where players are, but they're not afraid to do
when
what
it's
the team
good,
needs
it's very,
them to
very
do.
good. When it's bad, it's not so good. But I suppose that's true of everything. As forward comes Kusal Pereira to this ball from Wokes, and there's no run.
But it's important that if you set out with a particular game plan, you don't blame players for sticking to that game plan and it not working.
Well, there's no neutral or indeed no reverse gear. That's the England philosophy, isn't it? And it still somewhat seems to be that. Morgan, I think, in this innings played beautifully for his 92. He seemed to set his stall out to be the man that the rest of batted around. Accelerated when he needed to accelerate after Joe Root had got out. Forward comes Pereira to a ball of swung in a little bit and quite foolish onto his middle stump. But again, there's no run.
I mean, it's not all crash bang wallopry because you've got Root and Morgan who can go through various different gears. I mean, Morgan was the first of this group of modern English one-day batsmen to really have that power game. He kind of gets forgotten about. I think people forget how good a player he is.
Well, as a captain, one thing I noticed he's become quite good at is playing the circumstances. And as I say, I'm sure he set out today to, as Wokes is in, high elbow, solid defence. England have a ring of offside fielders. Ben Stokes it is, was at point. And he's, again, clapping his hands. England feeling they're on top here, looking to put the pressure on the Sri Lankan pair of Pereira and Shanaka, who probably are both at the crease rather earlier than they would have hoped to have been,
certainly,
for sure.
Certainly Shanaka.
Yeah, there's Johnny Bairstow. It always seems a little strange to see him in the outfield. In comes Wokes. That ball goes backward a point. The man down there, is that Ollie Stone?
That is Ollie Stone.
That's Ollie Stone down there at third man. And there is one run taken.
In the blue bucket hat.
The blue bucket hat. Sunglasses atop of it. Doing his absolute damnedest to look like David Willey.
Yes.
But about 4 inches taller.
But taller. Taller and less stocky. He's whippier, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's definitely whippier than a very stocky David Willey.
Yeah, David Willey sort of bustles into the crease.
Sri Lanka, well, they got the challenges here for them. In comes Wokes. And that one takes the outside edge. And Shanaka has gone. What a peach of a delivery by Wokes. It moved in. It just shaded away from off the seam. And Josh Buttler did the rest. And Shanaka's gone. And Sri Lanka are all in a bit of a heap. Well. Jason Shanaka has gone for 8. He's caught Buttler, bowled Wokes, and Sri Lanka are teetering somewhat here. Knuckle.
Yeah, Shanaka looking to try and get the scoreboard moving. 8 off 15 deliveries, going at basically 3 runs and over, drawn into playing half-heartedly at a ball that he should either have tried to hit or tried to leave. He didn't really do either with it. He sort of fenced at it defensively, and if you're playing defensive shots to balls that aren't going to hit the stumps, you're in trouble.
Well, chasing 279 to win, Sri Lanka have subsided so far to 31 for 4. Dick Weller gone for 9, caught Buttler, bowled. Ollie Stone, his first international wicket. Tharanga caught Buttler, bowled Wokes, gone for 0. Chandamal bowled Wokes for 6. Pereira is the man still there, he's on 4, and Shanaka the man who's just gone, caught Buttler, bowled Wokes for 8. And England are right on top. Now I've got just over an over left of ball by ball comms, haven't I? I wonder if I can get a 5 for. What do you think? Might make up for all those times when I've just sat down and it's rained.
we do have a
play this guy first.
We do have a new batter.
We should do. It's Dhananjaya De Silva.
Got De Silva in pocket. First test runs, a 6.
ODI average of just over 25 De Silva. And a strike rate in the higher end of the 90s. And he is going to be facing Chris Wokes, who has 3 wickets to his name already. and very, very exciting pairing of Wokes and Ollie
Brought
Stone.
in a third
The
slip from the backside.
all Warwickshire attack, and unusually indeed for an ODI we've got 3 slips in place. Bairstow, Root, and who do we have there? Third slip. In comes Wokes, and very nicely forward is Dananjaya de Silva. He's pushed that all the way for 4 through mid-on.
I have Dananjaya's ODI strike rate at a rather more pedestrian 79, but that was a lovely shot.
It was, wasn't it? Beautiful shot.
He is a stroke maker. He's more of a... he's played some classy innings for Sri Lanka in Test cricket in the middle order, but less of the power game. But that was beautifully played. Is that the first? That's the first boundary for some time. The first boundary, in fact, since the 5th over.
Oh, well, David, in the green room, I hope you are now on the edge of your seat, because it is none other than the slow left arm Liam Dawson, who's going through his warming up routine.
Liam. Dawson. Liam. Dawson. Liam Dawson.
So he is replacing Ollie Stone from the commentary box end, having a good surveillance of the field before coming left arm around the wicket. Oh, good ball, forcing Pereira onto the back foot. Onto the back foot, who pushes that away into the offside. There's no run. 35 for 4, Sri Lanka.
Well, Liam Dawson is not a bad cricketer. He's just not an especially exciting cricketer.
No, I don't. I'm joshing David a bit. He's there for a reason. It's just David can't work out what it is, and that is pushed away to mid wicket. And they think they take a single there. They did.
They wanted the third spinner. That's the.
They were. Yes, they did. And they don't
precisely
clearly feel that Joe Root's quite up to the third spinner role. Although we do know he can take wickets. Brings Dananjaya onto strike. Pereira's on 5. Dananjaya's on 4. 36 for 4. England. Liam Dawson's bowled 2 balls of what is the 10th over of this, a very eventful start to this Sri Lankan reply. Looking at faces in the crowd, there's a lot of studied concentration, a lot of concern. England probably feeling that one more wicket and they'd be almost perhaps into the tail. Although they bat pretty well. They've got pretty powerful middle order, don't they?
Thisara Pereira's in next, and then what have we got after that? Just get the batting lineup up for you. So is Thisara Pereira in next? Then it tails off a bit for the.
In comes Dawson, and he strays onto leg, and it's a very easy little nudge into the leg side. Very lively bit of fielding, though, I think, by Captain Owen Morgan. And actually, it went through the bowler, and Jason Roy it was who had to prevent any buzzers with quite an acrobatic dive.
Yeah, so Pereira's got a lot of power. Akila Dananjaya is not too bad, but then Sandakan, Malinga and Pradeep are all battling for the number 11 slot.
In comes Dawson, onto the back foot goes Pereira. Do you know what's doing me? It's Watford have a player called Pereira.
Roberto Pereira.
Yeah, Pereira. So
that's got another Y in it, doesn't it?
It does, yes. He scored for Argentina, by the way, this week.
Yes, he did, against Iraq.
Well, might of Iraq. In comes Dawson, ball of foolish length. Easy enough for Pereira just to push that away to mid-on and take a very comfortable single.
Messi Jazz says, when it's bad, it's not so good. Deep insight from Tony Bishop.
In fact...
As he suddenly realises his sentence has nowhere deep to go. Yeah. Love you, Tony. Martin Lawrence says something is going on with the audio. I will check that out for you to see if it is just you.
In comes Dawson. Nice. Forward comes Dananjaya. Concludes a fairly uneventful over from Dawson. But economical, David, I thought. Economical, efficient. Didn't get smacked away to the boundary. And if you could just manage to stay awake, I think you're on. I shall be back later.
Yep. Okay. All right. While we're faffing around and getting people sat down, let's have a quick marketing jingle, shall we?
Born free of his stupid voice and his dopey thoughts. Born free's the best way
Moeen Ali into the attack by the looks of it. And welcome back to Ian, myself, David.
Hello.
And Alex remaining in the jingle chair and comments chair. Yeah, I was yawning before, not because I was tired, but just because Liam Dawson tends to have that effect on me. I'm sure he is a very economical bowler. It's just not particularly exciting cricketer to watch. But here's one who is, Moeen Ali. And there's a nice reverse sweep there from Pereira, and he's found the boundary.
In fact, yes, I've got 4. 1, 2, 3.
It's the left-handed Pereira going on to one knee and reverse sweeping that to what became the deep long leg boundary.
They just showed some action of the ground staff, so I wonder if a rain shower is imminent.
Next ball is played out quietly for no run by Pereira.
I play the Moeen jingle quickly.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, Amlo. I like it too.
Yes, and that's taken the edge of the bat, but it's just short of the cover fielder Stokes, who ran in, just bounced in front of him, took the leading edge. It was a nice ball from Moeen Ali, a wicket-taking ball, squared up Pereira, and it just bobbed up in the air, but Stokes was just a bit too deep to be able to take that catch. So moral victory there for Moeen Ali. This one's slightly shorter, and it allows Pereira to punch it down too long off for a single. 43 for 4.
Phil Withall is saying, due to having to watch Despicable Me 3 with the youngest, I'm now out of the loop. I feel I've let you all down. Please accept my apologies. We will, but as long as you can get back to guerrilla cricket as soon as you can.
Moeen bowls to Dananya. He just plays that one down the corner. De Silva, as we've been calling him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a... they seem to be rather desperate to not face any particular bowling right now, don't they, these batsmen? They're very skittish against everything. Oh, and I think I see some rain behind Moeen's head as he comes in.
And that one beats De Silva's outside edge of his bat, goes through to
the
keeper, takes
it's
the gloves
raining
off.
now.
It is beginning to rain. Hopefully it's not going to be a monsoon type rain as we saw in the first one. At the end of that 11th over, Sri Lanka are 43 for 4.
Any tweets?
Martin Lawrence a couple of minutes ago saying something odd is going on with the audio. Normally if it is, we'd have quite a lot of other tweets telling us that's the case. So hopefully, well not hopefully, but it might be an isolated incident. If you can refresh your browser or something like that, you'll be back with us.
The players are staying out. There's just a bit of light rain at the moment. Liam Dawson to continue, as economical as ever. We've given the all clear on the audio. I think here's the Dawson bowls, and Pereira is solidly forward, and there's no run. So Pereira's on 11, De Silva on 5. What an impressive start for Ollie Stone, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
It was, yeah. They worked well in tandem, as if Stone and Wokes, didn't they?
They did indeed. This next ball from Dawson's played out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. I mean, to get your first wickets, forcing someone onto the back foot, the ball covering up short of a length, must be a very satisfying way to get your first international wicket. Here's Dawson, and that Pereira goes back, times that quite nicely, beats the inner circle, and Moeen Ali's having to run in, but they only get a single there.
Yeah, I think the big difference for England has been how much better their fielding has been. You can see that when they dive for the ball, it actually has an effort. They go for it rather than trying to stick their foot out as it gets towards the boundary. They actually go for it, and that's really helping them in a way that the Sri Lankans, I think, probably gave away many more runs than they needed to, thus putting greater pressure.
If England dive for the ball, they're generally going to get it rather than a token attempt.
Yeah, Dawson, De Silva comes down the wicket. There's appeal for LBW. He was a long way down. It slightly hit the pad, then his bat, but not a serious shout, but maybe as close as Liam Dawson gets. No, surely they're not going to review that one. Morgan's coming down. He is going to review it. Okay, maybe it kept low,
showing
but he seemed to be quite a long way down. Ian, you're the Hampshire man. Dawson's bowling. I'll leave this one for you to talk through.
Yeah, we'll just see what this one does. Yeah, it did seem a long way through. Very economical bowler the last few seasons, under 5 runs per over in List A cricket. Here we have Impact. Yeah, it's interesting. It's potentially in front. The question mark is over the was there inside edge just before Impact with pad? We're guessing
it's a long way down.
not.
He's taken a decent step
Oh, so
forward.
it's umpire's call on Impact because it is over 3 metres away. Umpire's call on hitting the stumps. So
Yeah.
A reprieve for De Silva and a wasted review, perhaps. Didn't look-
They don't lose the review from
Oh, it's
umpire's
umpire's
call,
call, you're right,
So
yeah.
they're okay.
Okay, fair enough.
They got lucky.
Yeah, did get lucky. They were lucky not to lose that review then. Here's Dawson bowls, and De Silva plays that one just wide of cover, and they're going to get a single.
You could also say they're unlucky not to be given it in the first place, because it's actually not a bad shout at all. And it was...
He's taken 2 steps down.
Well, yeah, but it was still... The rule, the law doesn't say if you're more than 3 metres away, it's not out. It's just that if you're more than 3 metres away, it's harder to predict where it's going to be. But he was still... It still hit him more or less in line and was going to hit the stumps.
The next ball is played by Pereira to mid-off. That's the end of another economical over from Dawson. 2 overs, no wicket for 5. Sri Lanka 45 for 4.
not Mank but Lank. Morning team just turned you on to find England looking good, but the rain starting.
Seems to have stopped a bit now. I mean, it's hard to tell when you've got the sky as the background. It's easier to tell whether it's raining or not. But
well, it's sunny in Sydenham.
Yeah, it's glorious. It's perfect cricket weather
glorious
almost.
in Sydenham.
Nice cross breeze to help your away swing and everything.
And Martin's reporting that he's refreshed his browser and the audio is now working, which is good news. Neckel confirmed for the green room we're all good. So
just like the commentators, refreshed, back with you. Next ball is played out from Moeen Ali's new over to mid-wicket. There's no run. This is De Silva on 6, Pereira on 12. Here's Moeen. Lucky not to get a wicket in his last over. That one's just flicked through mid-wicket. They're going to get single here. Stokes makes a bit of a meal of that, diving, swooping, skidding, and fires the ball back in, and they take a single. I'll go through the wickets in a moment because it was a very eventful start to this innings, and well, 4 wickets down in just the 13th over. It's not looking good for Sri Lanka. Moeen Ali bowls, sweep shot from Pereira, just beats Rashid Ali on the boundary, goes 1 bounce into the fence. That was a pretty decent shot. Actually played that with some commitment.
So yeah, I mean the current run rate's just over a run of all now, which is quite a tough ask, and what's clearly not the best pitch to bat on. I don't. When you're already 4 wickets down, it's.
Yeah, it's funny when the ball drops short, it looks quite easy to hit. That one was smashed back. That was a short ball from Moeen Ali. It was smashed back by Pereira, but Moeen took the pace off that one, and they just don't be able to go through for a single. It seems to me when it's short, it's easy to hit.
Yeah.
Or if you're England batsman to Malinga when it's full, it's difficult to hit as well.
Moeen to De Silva forward defensive. Yeah, it's nice to see Malinga back with a bang. A lot of people have criticised the selection of Malinga, saying, oh, they've gone back to a 35-year-old or whatever.
Well, I never entirely bought that. I mean, there's Sri Lankan selectors after this ball.
Moeen Ali gives that one some air. It's dabbed out by De Silva, no run.
Dropped him originally because they said he wasn't fit enough and couldn't last 10 overs of bowling, to which his response was to go and play first-class cricket for his team in Sri Lanka for a few matches.
Bowling some long spells.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, good on him for showing that sort of effort and attitude to get back. Because
I know, people were saying, well, England have chosen Ollie Stone as their new bowler. Sri Lanka have gone back to Malinga. That says the difference between the two teams. Well, Malinga did his part of the bargain, and with 5 wickets today. So let's just go through the scorecard. The groundsman waiting on the boundary, but no obvious signs of movement from them, so the game's going to continue.
They look a bit more relaxed than a few minutes ago, don't they? So, hopeful signs.
We'll do the scorecard at the end of the next over. Here's Dawson, and comes down the wicket, goes Pereira, and that's pushed through to long on for a single. Pereira moves on to 18. So the scorecard, Ferranga first to go, caught Butler, bowled Wokes, no score. Dick Weller caught Butler, bowled Stone for 9. Chandimal bowled Wokes for 6, and Shanakar caught Butler, bowled Wokes for 8. That one short, fired in by Dawson, played out quietly by De Silva, and there's no run.
Yeah, hello if you're watching on Crick Tracker on Facebook Live. I'll say hello to a few more of you on there in a few balls' time.
Is that the fielding coach for Sri Lanka? Because that's back foot goes De Silva, and they're going to go through for a single. Because you were saying that Sri Lankan fielding is not up to the quality of England's fielding. Isn't that down to the fielding coach? Who is he? Well, we need to be told. It's not Rickson, is it? He was just resigned from Pakistan. So who's the Sri Lanka fielding coach?
That's a good question, and if anyone has an idea, let us know.
I'm putting it out there. Here's Dawson round the wicket. It's leggy, and that's smashed away by Pereira. That was a gimme, I think.
Yeah,
and Pereira latches onto that, makes no mistake.
Hold on, my... Sorry about that.
All the way to the boundary.
Quadruple clicking.
Sorry, the thing just died on me for a moment, and then it just went crazy.
Well, the ball didn't die on Pereira. He smashed that one to the boundary. Let's see the response from Dawson. That's more flighted this time, but it's an easy single for Pereira. He just pushes that out onto the leg side. Yeah, Tony was riffing about my relationship with Liam Dawson. I mean, I was just making the point that this ODI team is such a difficult one to get into, and that's what we're told all the time. Yeah, Dawson seems to have walked into this team. I guess they needed the third spinner. Ian's going to come back on this in a moment. Dawson bowls. That's played down by De Silva, and there's no run. Ian, you're not just a Hampshire man, but you've been following the Liam Dawson career, I know.
Yeah, I just think the last couple of seasons with white ball cricket, he's really, really effective at putting the squeeze on. One of these bowlers who takes wickets at the other end. We've last 2 seasons going at about 4 3/4 runs per over in List A cricket. Right. He's handy with the bat down the order. You got to think, where would England turn if Moeen Ali was injured? That you can't necessarily plan for these things, can you? So, they need to have a look at some other spinners just in case.
Here's Moeen. Back foot goes Pereira. Finds the gap in the inner circle, and they're going to take 2. That's fielded down there. Johnny Bairstow it is under the sun hat. In the unfamiliar, well, I was going to say unfamiliar position of on the boundary, because he spent some of the Test series out on the boundary sulking this year by all accounts, when Joss Buttler took the gloves for that match. Here's Ali bowls forward defensive, goes Pereira, and well, the clouds, it's looking, it's overcast, but it's not dark, so hopefully the game will continue. Here's Moeen out short again, and this is played nicely through the inner circle. That's going to go all the way to the cover boundary, sweetly struck there by Kusal Pereira.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
Yeah, Crick Tracker comments. We've got Saeed Raza Rizvi with us, and thumbs up emoji from him. Also Sandeep Kumar Ranasar.
Ali it's again back foot goes Pereira. This time it just pushes it to long off for single. So Pereira's looking good. He's gone to 30. Back to you, Ian.
Yeah, MD Yassin, Rahul Badar, Iman Udin, all with the thumbs up emojis, and a few people asking why they can't show the cricket.
Down the leg side at Ali, that's called a wide. It drifted right down the leg side and taken by Joss Buttler, but that was wide by a long way. Here's Moeen Ali pushes forward. Yeah, we'd love to show you the cricket. We haven't got the rights, but we've got the right to tell you about it, and we're going to describe the action to you as well as we can. live from Dambulla and live from South London. Here comes Marion Bowles, and a little paddle sweep shot there by De Silva, and there's a little chase on the long leg boundary, and it's going to settle for a single. The end of the over for Moeen Ali. He's 3 overs 0 for 20. 15 overs have gone. Sri Lanka are 67 for 4.
Martin Lawrence asked the question, how many overs are needed for a result? And the answer to that is 20 overs. And Josh Holland has got a really handy DLS calculator, which says that even if no more wickets fall, then England would win this game quite comfortably at 20 overs if there was no more play. Angelic Scooters, well, that 4 jingle certainly woke me back out of my food wine coma. And sometime Gorilla Simon O'Keefe's listening in, have just tuned in while whipping up an omelette for the crazy redhead. England should win this, I think.
Dawson starts a new over. That's played out by De Silva, and it's collected nicely at extra cover, and there's no run.
Is he catering for Ben Stokes personally then, is Simon O'Keefe?
I think that's what he calls his better half.
Ben
the
Stokes.
crazy redhead. Yeah, Ben Stokes.
And that's played away by De Silva. It's upish, but there's no one out there, and it's going to go
wildly
all the way. It's cleared the boundary, and the umpire raises both of his hands. It is indeed the maximum. It's a KFC maximum.
Dawson's going
It
to
was
make me
short
look
from
silly.
Dawson. I mean, I'm sorry, Ian. That was pretty filthy, wasn't it? As a short,
it wasn't
nothing
very.
ball.
It wasn't very good. And if he does a bit more of this, he's going to make me look very silly indeed.
I'm sure he's got a response. Here he comes, Dawson with his response. Gives that one more air. That's better. Nice response from Dawson. Butler claps his gloves together as if to say, "Good comeback, fella." Whatever they shout on these things.
Yeah,
usually call each other fella, don't they? Good comeback, Dawsy.
Dawes.
Do you reckon he's
Applause
Dawsy?
for Dawes.
Applause for Dawes.
He's Dawes.
Yeah, Dawson, and that's played off the back foot by Silva for no run. Do you reckon he's a Dawsy?
No, it's just Dawes.
Just Dawes.
Yeah.
Dawes, okay.
And that's where it stopped. No one decided to go a bit further and sort of call him Early or Morrison or something.
No, shame. Silva, picture of concentration. He waits for Dawson, goes onto the back foot and just pushes it down for a single. So these two just pushing the score along, because De Silva's gone on to 16, Pereira's on 30, recovering 74 for 4. The fourth wicket actually went down at 31. They were 31 for 4. And yeah, what a great opening spell from Ollie Stone, coming into the team to replace effectively Liam Dawson, who's getting married. But he's really taken Mark Wood, ended up taking Mark Wood's place. Dawson drops short again, and this is caught. It was another filthy ball, but it's got a wicket this time. It was smashed straight into the hands of mid-wicket, and it was taken by Jason Roy. I think took that catch. But I tell you, there's wicket-taking balls, and there are, not particularly good balls that get wickets. That was short of a length. He could have hit it anywhere, but he's hit it down and Tony's got a point to prove. I don't know what it is. What, bad balls take wickets? It was bye-bye.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have put it better myself. Let's have another go at that.
Let's.
Abhishek suggests that Liam Dawson's variation that goes the other way is called the Dawsra.
I like it. All I can say is if that's how he takes his wickets, Ian, you'd be relying on perhaps better batsmen than Pereira there. I mean, Pereira's a decent bat, and he'd be kicking himself for getting out to that. Jason Roy took a catch above his head, but he could have put it anywhere. Why put it in the direction of the one fielder who was inside the ring there at mid-wicket? That was a, was schoolboy error?
Yeah, it was, and also the fact that they, managed to take quite a few runs off the over already.
Yeah, there's no need to play that.
Well, you'd play it because it was a not particularly good ball, but it's kind of, could you just try and play it for a single or something like that? Eliminate the risk.
Indeed. Well, one Pereira is replaced by another.
That is absolutely correct, and here he is.
This next ball is paddled away around the corner by De Silva because the batsman.
No,
It's
it's
new
a
over.
new
It's a
over.
new over. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. New over from Moeen Ali. So yeah, we have Cesaro Pereira is the new batsman. He's at the non-strikers end because this is a new over from Moeen Ali. Pereira playing his 142nd ODI, would you believe? Moeen Ali bowls. That's on the back foot goes De Silva down to long on. So we're going to take our first look at Cesaro Pereira, whose full name was beautifully enunciated by Tony earlier. And I'm not going to attempt it, not in all its glory. I know it starts with Narangoda. There's a Thisara in there, but it's the second name I'm having trouble with. Yelana Rakaloga Thisara Kirantha Pereira. Thank you. No, don't ask me to repeat that.
I'm not going to ask you, don't worry.
Thisara Pereira. But he's going to get off the mark. His first ball just out, dabs it out onto by cover point. They take a single. Sporadically effective left-hand batsman. He's in the side for his bowling. But he's going to need a lot. Sri Lanka are going to need a lot more from him today. The Duckworth-Lewis scores, if to bear out what Josh was saying, 157 was it?
Yeah.
Is Moeen Ali, and that's short, and it's pulled away. It's going to beat the fielder on the fence. That's a 4 for De Silva, and no stopping that one. It was just a bit too short from Moeen Ali, and Thisara rocking on, De Silva rocking onto the back foot, and pulling that away effectively.
Nick Martin, nicknames are so plentiful for doors. Diana, patio, revolving.
There are so many.
Yeah,
options.
there is. Yeah,
thanks for those.
bad child at the same time suggested Diana.
Oh, I like that. Let's have your suggestions. And that's played away by De Silva for a couple of runs. There's a lot of hilarity in the box.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's an excellent suggestion by Nako, and I think that's what we should try and turn into a jingle. I'll say in a minute what it is.
Bowls. And that's played defensively by
bit of a
Thisara.
fumble.
Oh, there's a bit of a little bit of a fumble in the field by the skipper there. I mean, Morgan. I think he's apologising to the bowler. Perhaps a breakdown in communication between the two.
So you used to have the Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer fronted quiz show Shooting Stars.
Yes.
And they had the baby on there, George Dawes with the drum kit.
Yes.
What are the scores on the doors?
Yes.
Liam Dawes.
Liam Dawes, yes. I can see why there was a confusion in the field there, because Moeen stuck his boot down and he ended up kicking it past the captain, Owen Morgan, so you can't really blame the skipper for that. And here is Dawsey, the scores on the doors being, in his case, 1 for 21, I think he is now. Dawson, 1 for 19 or 4, forgive your pardon. He starts a new over. That's played back to him by Thisara, and there is no run. So, Dawson 4 overs, 1 for 19. Moeen Ali's been more expensive. He's gone 4 overs for 30. Here's Dawson, gives that one some more air. That's played nicely by Thisara down to long on, and they'll go through for a single.
Abhishek says, doesn't Alex Laughter deserve a jingle of its own?
I have been likened on several occasions by friends to Jimmy Carr, and it's...
I can see that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing to tell you is we're tweeting out Guerrilla Cricket. We are on YouTube. You can also watch our broadcast on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because...
then we can make money off advertising, essentially.
From advertising even.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the bowler. That one by De Silva, and there's no run. Yes, please, go to YouTube and subscribe to Guerrilla Cricket. And then return to your favoured platform, if that's what it is. Here's Dawson, and that's played around the corner by De Silva. Rashid's going to field that, and it's a single. Yeah, make Alex laugh. That's a challenge to all the Twitter sphere out there. We want to hear that laugh again, so send us your suggestions. Anything that makes Alex laugh. Maybe some more nicknames. Dawson, played out by Thisara, and there's no run. That is the 1 ball to go in this over.
As the drizzle is returning.
Anthony Thomas.
Going to be, and this last ball from Dawson is played out by Thisara for a single. We're going to have a change in the box. We have Alex going to take over on ball by ball, Knuckle and Tony coming back in. Sri Lanka 87 for 5 in 18 overs. Dan De Silva on 25 and Thisara on 4. It's time for drinks, and we'll play a jingle.
We need your alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Hello there, I am Alec Payton. I'm taking over the ball by ball. To the right we have Knuckle Mpande himself, and to my left we have Tony. Say hi, fellas.
Hey.
Hi, fellas. Yeah, hello, hello, Ag, hello, Tony, hello, everybody. PK Punkage on Crick Tracker says he wants some excitement. He says 666, 666.
Not quite.
Which would enliven procedures somewhat.
664 wicket, I think, wasn't it?
I can see what Kusal Pereira was trying to do, because if he'd managed to clear Jason Roy, there's a wide open expanse of green between them, because Roy was at mid-wicket, they had the fielder at long on, you had the fielder at deep square leg. He just failed to clear him. It was a decent catch by Jason Roy.
Yeah.
Probably I mean, if you're being harsh, a slightly better catch than the ball deserved, but sometimes you get wickets off bad balls. It happens.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, look at how Josh Butler got out. He got out from a non-swinging full toss that he could have put anywhere in the ground and ended up putting it into his middle stump.
Horrible shot.
Yeah, how many of those has he smashed back into the stands in the last 2-3 years?
Well, he then had to have the ignominy of standing around on the boundary for a while, for what seemed like an age, while they figured out if it was a no ball or not.
I still reckon it might have been, because I'm fairly sure the laws state that you're not allowed to touch the
back line.
You're not allowed to cut the back line with the sideline with your back foot.
Yeah.
You can do what you want with the front foot. You are listening to Gorilla Cricket's coverage of England's tour of Sri Lanka. This is the second ODI after the first was rained off, so the first that is edging towards a full game. Sri Lanka are 87 for 5 after 18 in reply to England's 278.
Well, now we have seen some rain starting to fall, haven't we?
Yeah. 2 overs they need to get.
But they need to get 2 overs in, and then it would be a result regardless of rain.
Yeah, and
I think they're going to do everything they can.
And we suspect that's why England have been going with spin.
We suspected that's why Liam Dawson came on in the 9th over.
Yeah.
Dawson and Moeen are very, very quick between the overs.
Absolutely.
It's definitely from a beautiful sunny day. It's become quite overcast now.
As Moeen is to continue, and it's pushed off into the onside up to Chris Wokes, who is fielding it sort of a very straightish mid-on, and they've gone through for a quick single. Dhananjaya is up to 25 from 27. He's actually going along quite a good rate. He's definitely been the pick of the batsman, really.
He's a good player. He's a very classy player. One to watch in the Test series. Bowls a little bit of off-spin too.
And Thisara is on 5. Dhananjaya is to face Moeen, who is in. And it's defended just behind on the offside. It's fielded by Butler because there is no slip there, which I think they might be missing a trick at, because neither batsman has been middling it consistently. Moeen once more, and he clears his front foot a little. He tries to have a bit of a swing, but decides in the end just to push it up along the ground towards Jason Roy at mid-on. They go through for a single.
That said, there is some turn into the right-hander, so maybe you'd have the catching man at short mid-wicket. Or it's not turning enough for leg slip, but certainly short mid-wicket. The rain is getting heavier all of a sudden out there in Dambulla, but surely they'll stay out for 9 balls.
You'd hope so. Especially as they're 5 down as well. I don't think you'd want to come back tomorrow to finish this innings if you could possibly avoid it if you were Sri Lanka. As Moeen, he is in, and it's a nice full ball, but it's again just pushed out into the onside. It's fielded, and they've gone through for another single. Yeah,
I mean, Sri Lanka can't even just bat out and try and hope for the abandonment now.
No.
Because of the reserve day.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is a good thing. I mean, it's only the weekend games. I think it's this game and the 5th game that have reserve days. The weekday games do not.
No. Moeen is going over the wicket to Dhananjaya, who clips it off of his toes behind square leg. It's fielded, I think, is that by
Johnny
Bairstow in his floppy blue hat. I was wondering why they don't have matching red ones. Of course, it's the T20 uniform, isn't it? So
we were having that debate earlier.
Yeah. And that is again pushed, but straight up to Stokes at mid-off and end of the over, and they've gone through for a very quick change.
So Stokes, they're definitely trying to get through the over. Why did Stokes roll the ball along the ground and get it wet? Liam Dawson won't thank him for that.
Well, to be honest, if they come off in 6 balls' time, it's not going to matter, is it? 'Cause they're not going to be bowling with that one.
But it's the cry of every club cricketer. Keep the ball dry, lads.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone is saying get on with it.
It's too late. Yeah. But yeah, so they've got Johnny Bairstow is wearing a blue sun hat. Of course, they don't have a red one because the T20 one they wouldn't often play in sunlight. Dawson is to continue, and he's going around the wicket to the right-handed Danjaya, who punches it up to mid-off and then go through for a quick single.
Yeah, the cap is red, the baseball cap. I quite like the blue floppy.
Yeah.
Anthony Thomas has just tweeted, I'm a big fan of Faith No More, so that jingle has pretty much made my day.
Absolutely.
Nick Martin sent us a picture of George Dawes on the drums.
Yeah.
Top quality tweeting, as that is punched into the onside just in front of square leg, which is vacant. So Jason Roy has fielded, and he's passed it back to the umpire.
Iranu.
93 for 5.
Irahu, yes.
Vavu.
How long have we got?
Cool. Cool.
Down from above.
And yet another single off to mid-off, and they've gone through once more.
Abhishek says, the New Zealand fast bowler Morrison, paired with Dawson, Dawes obviously, would make a fairly musical bowling pair. Yes, he would.
Quite possibly indeed.
Although Morrison Dawson sounds like
Dawson's
a
going
car.
Indian bowler's name. Sorry, a West Indian bowler's name. Morrison Dawson.
Okay, and that was punched out into the offside, but there's a close infielder and there's no run.
Or an estate agent's.
Yes. Hot black Desiato.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't believe that was real when I saw it for the
Oh,
first
yeah,
time.
absolutely. That kept low.
It's chipped to Rashid, who is at backward point, and they've gone through for another single.
One more ball, we've got a game.
This will be interesting.
I say we've got a game. We've got a completable game.
Yes.
Are they going to stay out there?
I think they might come in. As he is in, and it's defended quite hard, so Dawson has to dive across to field, but that is the end of the over. It is 95 for 5, and no, they're not knocking the bails off, it would seem. The Duckworth-Lewis score is 160.
That might be at the end of the next over. But anyway,
I
Sri
think
Lanka
it's
are a long,
yes.
long way behind.
I don't think it's going to make a 65-run difference.
No.
But
something quite extraordinary if that were the case.
They've got this man to bowl. It is Moeen Ali, who is continuing, so clearly they've decided it's not raining severely enough yet to bring them in.
No, I think maybe Rashid will come on at the other end for the next over.
Yeah. Very least given some match practices. Again, I think he's had a huge amount of game time since arriving in Sri Lanka.
No, one of the warm-up games was completely washed out too.
As Moeen's going round the wicket to Thisara, who punches out into the offside for no run. He remains on 8 from 13. Dhananjaya is 29 off 33. As Moeen in, continuing around the wicket, and it's pushed back to him for no run. Any tweets quickly?
No, Abhishek in fact was the last tweeter thus far.
Everyone is glued to the game as he's in, and it's a bit of a hoik really along the ground to Morgan, who is at short mid-on, no run.
Yeah, Thisara Pereira, I think was initially looking to smash that over the leg side, but it slightly cramped him for room.
Yeah. It's in again, and it's worked out towards Ben Stokes on the offside. Bit of the outside edge of the bat rather than middle there for no run.
There is a little bit of turn. That was just off the outside half of the bat. There is a slip in place for the left-hander.
Yes, there is. In again, and it's again. He's not timing it particularly well. They've gone through for the single this time because it's found Jason Roy up at long mid-off, and they've gone through. But yeah, they're definitely having difficulties here with their batting, the Sri Lankans.
I mean, what do you do in this situation? Because they need some runs, but also they can't just be hyper-aggressive because they're worried about losing wickets.
Absolutely, and that is the end of the over. It's another dot ball, 96 for 5 off of 21. Yeah, they do need... Yeah, I agree they need wickets, but they've also now got to fight the Duckworth-Lewis stern, and that is badly against them.
I honestly don't think you can worry about that. You just have to try and win the game in normal time.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to make up that difference in however long it takes for them to rein it off. I think the umpires are just going to try and keep them out there as long as possible.
Well, I think they know once they come in, that's odds are that's going to be it for the day.
Yeah, it could be one of those days where the showers come and the showers go. Let's hope so, certainly. It's very hard to tell from this picture whether it is raining or not. It does look lovely, though, the rolling hills and the thick forests.
It is very picturesque there, by all accounts.
Yeah.
Is this one of the stadiums that got built for the 2011 World Cup?
The first ODI here was in 2001.
Right.
Yes,
also Sri Lanka versus England.
Okay.
Michael Vaughan's one-day international debut.
Okay.
Stumped for 2 off 9 off Murali.
Well,
we do
he can't be the best batsman to have that, as it is Stone
Ollie Stone again.
is coming back in, and it's a shortish ball, and Desara ducks out the way, and it's given a wide anyway.
Off the bowling of...
I wish my papa was an honest soul, and any granny comes to me to his own. I wish my papa's honest soul.
As this one goes past Desara's outside edge to Butler for no run.
The internationally approved way of bowling to Thisara Pereira with the seamers over the last, well, many years, he's been playing for a long time, is to bowl back of a length, because he's murderously powerful down the ground and over mid-wicket, but less so when the ball is shorter in at his body.
Absolutely. As Stone in once more, and that is just worked away on the on the side, but there's no run.
In the other game that's going on, by the way, the Test match between India and the West Indies in Hyderabad. India, of course, winning the first Test by an innings and many. India are 213 for 4. Rahane and Rishabh Pant to put on a 50 for the 5th wicket in reply to the West Indies, 313 and 100 from Roston Chase.
Cool. As Stone is in, and it's it's not much of a cricket shot. It's a sort of half pull, half club down the ground. There's a big chase on, and sliding stop by Dawson, who gets it back, and they've gone through for 2. So Desara is now into double digits, 99 for 5. They've nearly got to 100.
West Indies made 311. By the way, a few substitute fielders. And in fact, the West Indies have got a substitute wicketkeeper on as the first, because Shane Dowrich got one that hit him on the knee.
Yeah, we were discussing that before you arrived, as the legitimacy of bringing on a sub-specialist fielder.
Stone is in, and that's given an almighty hoik by Desara, and it's gone through for one of these.
Yeah, the regulations have been changed so that a sub-fielder can wicket keep, which I think is sensible.
Well, I'm not sure what applies in international cricket. I know in county cricket this season, for a head injury, you're allowed to substitute a batsman who can bat, a concussion substitute, yeah.
Well, the substitute can take an active part in the game with bat or ball.
As Zara's in, and it's pulled away, but there is a batsman. Is that Alex Hales?
Hales is
on as a sub-fielder. He's getting some time out there. He's getting himself a bit of exercise.
Try and identify who he's on for.
Yep. So that was a single, and score is now 104 for 5. They're actually getting faster. Their first 50 took 77 balls. Their second took 57.
Yeah, largely thanks to Dhananjaya de Silva.
Yeah. So we've got some much happier looking Sri Lankan fans now in the stands. Stone is in to complete his over. He's going over the wicket, and it's defended rather nicely by Dhananjaya, and that is in. 104 for 5. Any tweet action?
Dr. Dan had sent in a terrific sketch.
Morning, Doctor.
Of terrific sketch of Chris Woakes bowling, which I have retweeted. We were talking about Dambulla, the ground. It is the newest venue in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Is it?
Yep.
So I thought they had some built specifically for
the
World Cup.
Humban Pota has been built more. It was built for the 2011 World Cup, which is right in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah.
I think you may be reading from the same Crick Info bio that sometimes is out of date.
Is that a bit out of date?
That's badly out of. That's nearly a decade. As the rain really is coming down, but they're sticking with Moeen, which suggests that he reckons he might still be able to turn it a bit, but at some point.
He is getting turn, and he hasn't noticeably dropped the ball short. In fact, he's almost baiting the weather by taking the towel out of his pocket and giving it to umpire Ranmore Martinez.
As he is in, and it's bullish ball, but it's worked way towards long on, and it's fielded, and they've gone through for a quick single.
We unearthed quite a fun fact in when we were researching this. So Ramon Martinez didn't have much of a cricket career himself, just the 4 first-class games. He did play once for Sri Lanka under-19 in an ODI.
Okay. As he's in again, and it's just chipped. It's not entirely controlled, but it's gone through to the onside. Stokes has fielded and they've gone through for another single.
And playing against Australia under-19s, and playing in that game for Australia under-19s was Ramon Martinez's on-field colleague today, Paul Rifle.
Yes, I think, yes, we saw, you sent us those notes, we've already used them.
Sure.
We used them earlier, we're very grateful, yeah.
I love Cricket Archive, it's wonderful.
It is, isn't it? He's in again, and it's a rather nice back-footed drive from Thizara up to Stokes to mid-off, and they've gone through for another run.
I think it was more interesting that the umpire's name is Ranmore, and he played 4 first-class games with an average of 16.
Should have ran more?
So he probably should have ran more, yeah.
It doesn't give you his strike rate, I think. They don't. Those ball-by-ball stats aren't available, sadly.
No, not for first-class cricket.
Ranmore Ethelson John Martinez.
Great name, isn't it?
Fabulous name. As Moeen is going over the wicket to the right-handed Dhananjaya, who punches it through to Morgan, who sends it straight back to the keeper for no run.
Abhishek's updated us with a very interesting fact, but I will wait until the end of Moeen's over to relay it.
It's only 2 balls away. Sorting the field out, and it's just chipped. It is slightly aerially, but it's perfectly safe, and it goes to forward a square leg, where it's fielded by Johnny Bairstow, and they've gone through for another single. 108 for 5, just before the end of the 23rd over. Dhananjaya 31, Thizara 18. As Moeen, he is at the top of his mark, runs in, and it's defended very watchfully by Thizara. End of the over, and what is the information for us?
Yes, Abhishek said that substitute fielder as a keeper in tests today was the second instance. DK for Parthiv in South Africa earlier this year was the first instance.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
And Parthiv Patel taking a blow on the wrist, I think.
If I remember correctly, that was permitted previously with the specific consent of the opposition captain, because there was, I think, when Brad Haddon at Leeds in 09 got injured, Graham Manu was substituted in at the very last minute, even though Haddon was technically on the team sheet.
Oh, but that's before the start of play, though, isn't it?
But
so that's
still,
slightly different.
But yeah, still technically, Strauss could have insisted that one of the batsmen, one of the other players, take over, or had him be brought out in a wheelchair in a Zimmer frame. Stone is to continue, and he is going over the wicket, and it's another shortish ball, but it's pulled mightily effectively by Dhananjaya. It's fielded by Dawson, so they only go through for the single as it goes rockets along the ground. That was a mighty shot from the man. It probably deserved a little bit more than it got there.
I'm going to wait until the end of this delivery from Ollie Stone, then I will read a tweet from Wire Cricket Club, who are very welcome to be joining us.
Oh, hello there. As they faff around, obviously resetting the field because they've got a left-right combination. As Stone comes in and he bowls, and it's on a good line and it's a good length, and it's just pushed up to fielder, to Captain Morgan. There's no run.
Yes, so it says here at Wire Cricket Club HQ, which is Chris's house, we've bemoaned the lack of BBC TMS for the Sri Lanka England tour. For the second ODI, we're giving Guerrilla Cricket a go. We are impressed by their ball-by-ball so far, and no ads.
Thank you very much.
Well, a very warm welcome to you.
Whereabouts are you based, Wire?
Well, I was about to ask, do tell us where you are.
As Stone is continuing, and that's Hoyt, and I think that's just cleared the rope. It has. It's gone over the rope at square leg for one of these.
Smack it in the air. Smack it in the air. Legs move it side to side. Smack it in the air. Smack it in the air.
And that was hard and flat. That wasn't more than about 15 feet off the ground for its entire trajectory. He is powerful, Thizara Pereira.
It's a rather lovely little shot, that. As,
he's got some power in those arms.
Yeah, using the pace of Ollie Stone. He's not quite getting the lift from back of a length that he was in his first spell.
I imagine a slightly damp ball is not the easiest thing to try that with. As he's in again and again, a bit back of a length. It hits the top of Thizara's bat a bit, and who manages to keep it down a bit defensively, so there's no run. Fielded by Ollie Stone off of his own bowling.
Here's the rain getting lighter.
Yeah, I think it's just that. I think it's that English condition of just now persistent drizzle.
Oh, well, that's how we play. That's the conditions we played the Dan Lucas Memorial game in this year.
Didn't we just?
Yeah. I've played a couple of matches like that before as well. As Stone is in once more, and it's again a bit back of a length, and it's just clipped off the hips through to Bairstow at a backward square leg for a single.
I thought it was a brave and courageous decision by the umpires that day that play was fully possible.
Oh, the spectators got their money's worth.
Yes.
They did indeed. Ravi says, Ravi Nair says, the saga of Siege Hard 7.0 continues. We had to lose electricity for 15 minutes. The air was still hot and thick. I'll wait to continue this after this ball.
Quite a saga.
Yeah.
So into Danandra, who defends it very watchfully, and that's the end of the over. 116 for 5.
We had to lose electricity for 15 minutes. The air was still hot and thick. I had to swallow it. Breathing alone wasn't working. I hope England win this, but right now I am fighting heat exhaustion, so am... ...
Dun, dun, dun.
I do hope that's a joke, but tweet us and confirm.
Any other tweets?
No. Although we've been retweeting Wire Cricket Club, and I do hope they are still there, because I'd like to know where Wire is. And yeah, I would like to know where Wire is. It's not a place I've heard of. So we've, if the rain just deluged now, essentially
England
it
will
would
win
be
this
an
game
England win.
very
the
very
sky
comfortably.
is looking pretty leaden. The really worrying sign was when they started to get the covers ready before it was raining again.
Yeah, as Moeen is in, and it's punched up to Roy at mid-off. Oh, he sends it in, and it smacks Thizara on the buttocks there as he sends it back to the keeper. It's
and then bounced off his bum to Joe Root at slip, who threw the ball up in the air, the cheeky little scamp that he is.
As they're now having a bit of a scout around, getting ready, as Moeen in once more. And that one did spin. That hit the deck and it gripped, and it just spun past Thizara's bat.
And there's an absolutely lovely smile on Moeen Ali's face when he realises what a delivery that
The
was.
drift and the dip were glorious.
They were, yeah. In once more, and it's driven nicely, but there is a fielder out there. It is Joe Root, Root 66, and there's no run. Once more, Ali is in, and it's a little bit off the outside edge, but this time they should get through for a single. Joe, it is thrown back by backward point to Moeen Ali, but the batsman rather, is safely home. Thizara's up to 26 from 33.
We've just had a new patron. Mike Fitzgerald has just donated $10 a month, or pledged $10 a month to us on patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank
If
you.
want to check out your after this ball, that could have gone anywhere. That came off the inside edge of his bat, and it's
isn't it?
Oh, it didn't. Yeah, didn't hit anything. Missed everything.
I thought he got an inside edge.
Oh,
I was
so
with you,
did
Alec.
I.
It surprised me when the
So they're
umpire
showing us
signal buys.
again,
Surprised
and-
Butler too.
Yeah, just
No, you're right.
bounced off
Through
of a
everything.
length. I think it came off of Butler's left elbow there, which is why it looked like it came off the bat for a moment.
Those guys at the commentary box end do
They
look
are,
leaden
yeah.
now.
Ooh, and again, he's finding the outside edge of the bat, and it's fielder sends it back though, and they just go through. I don't think they even get the single there. Dananjaya remains on 32 from 41. Thizara is on 27 from 34. The score is 119 for 5.
Abhishek Chopra has the almanac, the cricketing almanac of Abhishek Chopra says, by the way, Hadley and Wasim and Robin Singh, in that order, are the 3 oldest bowlers to take a fifer in ODIs. Malinga slots in at number 4 in that list today.
Yeah, he's 35 years old at Lasith Malinga.
That's no age. That's fine.
Well,
he's bowled.
I'd go along with that. But yeah.
This year, I mean, he took a 4-for in Sri Lanka's first game of the Asia Cup. He's bowled as well as he has for many, many years. We do have a change of bowling. The TV director showed him just now, and here he is.
Adil Rashid on the 45. 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 Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Oh, Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it.
Amir Khan on 6-tracker wants 6666, although he also then says 5565, which would be fun.
Well, that would be an eventful over. Crikey.
That would, yes. As Rashid is in, he's going over the wicket and does bite a bit, but Zara manages to get the full of his bat on it, and it goes over the ropes for one of these.
2, 4, 6.
Lovely by Desana Pereira. The ball, assuming that was the leg break, which I think it was. Yes, the leg break turning into him, so turning into his hitting arc, and he just swung it away over long on. I think the googly might not be far away.
No, that was it was a lovely bit of batting from Zara. As Rashid is in again, and there we go. There's the googly, and it's shoveled down the ground. There is a fielder out there. It is Stokes at long on, and they go through for a single.
These two have done a good job, haven't they? Partnership of 52 or 57 balls.
Absolutely.
They've, I wouldn't say the ship has been steadied, but
it's not.
They've
it's
certainly
not sinking.
There's not actually a hole in it anymore.
No,
Yes.
they've done a nice job.
Yeah, at a decent strike rate too. Desara Pereira 34 of 36. Dhananjaya a little bit slower in this partnership than he had been beforehand.
I have news of Wire Cricket Club as well.
We shall hear it in just a moment, as that is driven nicely past the sprawling short mid-off, as Stokes does field it out in the deep, and they go through for another single.
I'll hold it till the end of the over, seeing as Adil Rashid gets through him at a fair old pace, doesn't he?
Ben Stokes has dispensed with the secret agent sunglasses.
At least for the moment, anyway. To be honest, it's not really a day in which you need them, it would appear. As Rashid is in. Oh, it does find the outside edge, and it's gone through to Dawson at backward point. I don't believe there's a run. No.
Lively bit of fielding.
I'm going to give
Dawson,
that more. I'm going to give Desara more credit. There was a googly which he late cut very nicely. He picked it, which very few have. Other Rashid's had a very severe haircut.
Yes, the hair is a little bit of an issue, and that's a lovely drive, and it is another one of these.
We know how powerful Desara Pereira is down the ground. That was a lovely shot, even better than the first.
Now, I believe you mentioned where at the end of the 20th over, when Ben Stokes rolled the ball along the ground. That's the ball that Rashid is now trying to bowl with.
It can't help.
It cannot help.
I mean, those weren't bad balls. I mean, if you're being hit straight back over your head as a spinner, you're doing something right, I think.
I think so, yeah. But still, yeah, Rashid is drying his hands on the dirt.
He's trying to.
Yeah.
Good Lord, it looks apocalyptic at the other end.
It does,
doesn't it?
And they've got and they've got the lights on, which, given that it's only mid-afternoon out there, that one has deceived him a bit. I think he got a bit of inside edge onto that. He
pad maybe.
Pad, yeah. Dribbled its way to where short leg would be, and that is the end of the over with a dot ball. 14 from it, 133 for 5.
Yes, Wire Cricket Club say we are in Porton le Fylde in Lancashire, looking for more players for the forthcoming year to play Palace Shield cricket. Put the word out. Well, we will.
Absolutely.
And they are fun, friendly club, ideal for those living in the Wirefylde or Blackpool, noted for fresh air and fun area.
Blackpool.
And 167 is the DL score, which was what Pillsbury had just asked.
Yeah,
so
they've pretty much
Sri
Lanka have pretty much halved the deficit to the Duckworth-Lewis pass score. I mean, it's still so far away that they can't really think about it at this stage. But a good over for Sri Lanka, particularly Desara Pereira, but not one I think Rashid should be disheartened by.
No.
Well, he did get an encouraging tap on the shoulder and a little conversation with Captain.
Yeah, look,
Captain
you toss
Morgan,
the ball up. If he hits you back over your head for 6, so be it.
As Moeen is in again, and again it's just clipped down to backward square leg. There's no run.
It makes a game of it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As Moeen is in again to the right-handed Dhananjaya, who he really does bottom edge that one. He got a bit lucky there. He tried to clear his legs and give it a good swing, and didn't quite meet his bat, and it bottom edged it onto the ground.
What is interesting, there's a very stiff breeze blowing to the leg side for the right-hander from this end.
As again, this time he does get his bat on it. He shovels it out into the onside, where it's fielded by Jason Roy. They've gone through for the single.
So in theory, that should help the right-hander hitting over the leg side from this end, and conversely to the left-hander from the other end, Desara Pereira is hitting that with the wind when he's hitting over long on from the other end.
Yeah, and
maybe they're on from the wrong ends.
And I believe I'll have another change at the end of this over, as it is worked out into the onside by Tizara, and they've gone through for a very quick single.
I believe I'm going to go to ball by ball. Ian's going to come into jingles, and then Dave's going to come in and do some tweets.
Fantastic. I will just read one more tweet then as well. That all takes place. And wait for the end of the over.
Yep, 2 balls away as Moen is in again, and it's punched up to mid-off, and they've gone through for another single.
Considerable turn from Moen, but well played by Dhananjaya on the back foot and going properly on the back foot, not just sort of getting caught on the crease.
Absolutely. It is the last ball of the over, and he is in again. And that is uppish. He got lucky there. That he got that uppish. Ben Stokes dived for it, but there was no real chance of him getting. He
got a decent hand.
He got his fingertips to it.
I think he got more than that.
I think he had more time than he realised there. He was trying to dive, and as it was coming over his shoulder, I think if he'd taken a couple more steps, it might have been a...
So yeah, he's trying to shovel it into the onside, but he doesn't. He toe ends it into the offside instead.
Got a decent chunk of hand on that. It was more than fingertips. I reckon.
Yeah, having said that, it was only because he was horizontal at head height. It was a hell of an effort from Stokes, but
an impressive effort.
But nevertheless,
if nothing else,
137 for 5 at the end of the 27th over. Quick change.
I will quickly read Raviner's update and explaining his last tweet. The carpenters are fitting the glass partitions in the bathroom. The electrician is changing around the fan switches in the living room. The painters are second coating the spare bedroom. Humidity feels 100%. Temperature nearly 40. I think David's due to be in, but I shall keep going.
It's like Piccadilly Circus in your house, Ravi.
It does seem to be.
Other Rashid continues, and this is just dropped into the leg side by Thisara Pereira. There is no run. You're listening to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of England's tour of Sri Lanka. This is the second ODI of 5. Sri Lanka are 137 for 5, requiring 279 to win. Rashid into the left-handed Thisara Pereira on leg stump, and thoughts of a ridiculous run. I think the throw went to the wrong end, in truth, from mid-wicket, because Dhananjaya had sold himself and was struggling to get back to the non-striker's end, but the throw came in to Butler, and there is no run, just the one slip in place for Adil Rashid. Tony's going to stay in place till the end of this over. So. Staggered a change, tossed up outside off stump, a googly burn Adil Rashid. I'm not sure whether Pereira timed it and just drives into the offside through to cover. There is no run. I'm joined by... So Tony's going to be replaced by Dave at the end of this over, and I'm joined by Ian Pearce.
I was waiting for the precursor
the
to
heroic epithet. Tossed up on leg stump this time and nudged around the corner by Thisara Pereira to Ollie Stone at long leg, who skips round to field and just a single. Rashid going for a much straighter line in this over to the left-hander.
Max Mazza on 100 says, "Morning guys, first time listener, love it, can't tolerate TalkSport and Fire Daggers and the TMS crew, self-entitlement and smugness utterly repulsive, keep it up guys, you've got a new listener."
Well, we hope you learn to like us rather than just hate them, but we'll take it to start with. Outside off stump and turn from Adil Rashid. The Dhananjaya pokes into the offside, fielded by Stone at backward point. There is no run.
Well, Will Marshall says, let down by the Beeb, first time Gorilla Ring, top job.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone finding us for the first, 5th or 5,000th time, if we've done 5,000 broadcasts, I'm not sure. This one drifts considerably into the legs of Dhananjaya da Silva, rather, and leading edge into the offside. There is no run. Good over from Rashid, just the one off it, and at the end of the 28th over, Sri Lanka are 138 for 5. Keeping you up to date with all the cricket from around the world, in Hyderabad in the second test between India and the West Indies, Jason Holder has nearly dived out of his trousers as India are 243 for 4, trailing by just 68. Rishabh Pant is on 48, as is Ajinkya Rahane after the dismissal of Virat Kohli. A quick-fire 70 from Prithvi Shaw, the bulk of the scoring. Another failure for KL Rahul. Back in Dambulla, Moeen Ali continues outside off stump, and this is cut by Thisara Pereira out to Johnny Bairstow on the point boundary for a single. Sri Lanka 139 for 5. This partnership now 65. These two have done a good job, Ian.
They have indeed, yeah. They're pulling it back, and if we have a full game here and this partnership lasts much longer, England could be in a bit of trouble.
Tossed up by Moeen Ali in turn, but on the back foot is Dhananjaya da Silva, forcing into the offside. Can't beat Captain Morgan at cover, and there is no run. We welcome David Brooke back into the Boxo Dreams.
Afternoon,
actually, we can't use Boxo Dreams. We stole that from somewhere else.
Oh, it's still the morning.
As this one drifts from Moeen in turn. Would have been a wide had Dhananjaya da Silva left it, but he ain't in the leaving mood, and it finds its way to Ollie Stone at long leg for 1.
They keep showing Johnny Verstow sort of gesturing at the cover staff to get them on.
Yeah,
he's not enjoying it.
Weirdly, England are the ones almost wanting the rain at this point because they'd be so far ahead of the Duckworth Lewis stern par. Mowing round the wicket now to Thisara Pereira. Full drifting into middle stump, defended into the offside. There is no run. Moen's beard acting like a weather vane now. Tossed up, and Thisara was early on that one and just taking the bottom hand off the bat to make sure he didn't spoon it to cover, but fails to miss the field. There is no run. Good stuff from Moen. Just the 2 runs off this over thus far. He's in bowls. Drifts this one full onto leg stump and quickish as well. Nice stuff from Moen Ali. Sri Lanka after 29, 140 for 5.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is it, Knuckle, when you see the English fielders gesturing for the covers to come on. Why not try and win the game by legitimate means? Well, Pillsbury Atta says...
Oh, hello. I think it's off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not off, but they're calling the covers on. Umpires Rifle and Martinez have had a little conference, and the covers are being dragged from all parts of Dambulla. The Sri Lankan ground staff are notoriously brilliant, because they have to be, because of how much rain you get there in such quick time. The ground staff have been preparing this since about the 9th over, so the entire square, if not the entire ground, will be covered very shortly. So rain has stopped play. Sri Lanka are 140 for 5. They're 31 runs behind the Duckworth Lewis stern par, so that is how much England would win by if they don't get back on. The ground staff are now pausing. I think they're just making sure that they hold the line, as yes, they're just making sure everything meets in the middle and there are no gaps. We hope that we do manage to get back on. In the meantime, though, I might just go and hook up my laptop to the screen, and then we can do some India West Indies.
That would be great. Yes, we will cover the last session from Hyderabad, West Indies versus India. So don't go anywhere. Knuckle's going to perform some technical magic, and we're going to be able to go over to Hyderabad during this rain break for that interesting second test match between India and West Indies, where Jason Holder's return to the team has helped, as captain, has helped West Indies get to a better performance. Can I just update a few tweets whilst we're waiting for that? Pillsbury Atta, Ian says, sorry for being behind the curve, but is Matthews injured? Well, no, he's not injured.
No, he's controversially left out by the Sri Lankan selectors. Is made a bit of a scapegoat for their poor performance in the Asia Cup.
Yes, indeed. He was, in fact, he wrote I thought, a fairly conciliatory letter when he was relieved of the captaincy. He made it public to say that he hadn't given up the captaincy, that he'd been asked to stand down from it, that he was still available as a player. But he was dropped as a player, and there was that strange comment, wasn't there, from the Sri Lankan selectors that he's running between the wickets, he's running too many people out. The suggestion being that he was overweight. That was the implied suggestion in that.
Yeah, that feels like a bit of clutching at straws, doesn't it? To nitpicking and finding
Abhishek Chopra sums it up better than I could by saying he's allegedly fat and runs like a fat man would and runs out his thinner mates. Abhishek also is projecting forward and says the rain subsides considerably. Sri Lanka batsmen conjure one good partnership after the other, while milking runs off the faster men on this easy-paced pitch. Owen wants to bring the slower men back into the attack. They don't have enough overs left. Sri Lanka win. Well, that's an interesting prognosis. Let's hope that the first part turns out to be true, i.e. the rain subsiding. It's just raining in that slightly tropical way that it does, which is more than just the sort of downpour we experience in southeast London. It's heavier than that. But the ground staff are busy doing their work. Des says he imagined playing an imaginary over with the broom when he got in last night at 2 a.m. He was caught behind off his own reflection. That's an interesting one.
Fair enough. I thought he was going to say that. He was caught out by...
And Ravi, hello Ravi, he's following up the tweet he sent us just before about spreading the cricket word, about these carpenters are fitting the glass partitions in the bathroom and all that, and he's following up by saying that he's provided a picture evidence of, just in case you think I'm joking, my bed's in the foreground, the carpenters are in the background, midfield is my pink velour bathrobe. If you want to know what he's talking about, have a look at our Twitter feed at Gorilla Cricket. Bowling figures: Wokes 5 overs 3 for 26, Stone 6 overs 1 for 23, Dawson 6 overs 1 for 26, Moen 10 overs for 47, Rashid 2 overs for 15. What about Ollie Stone, Ian? Were you impressed, as I was, by his first one-day international?
I was very much so. Seen him on TV for Warwickshire and Northamptonshire before that in the T20 Blast, and know that he can be particularly lively, particularly aggressive. So it's a question mark of how he gets on at a higher level, and early suggestions say he'll be absolutely fine.
I mean, Liam Plunkett announces that he's getting married, so he can't come on the tour. Ollie Stone's named as his replacement, but it's actually Mark Wood that he's replaced in the team.
Yeah, it's worked out that way so far. I think there's going to be a place for all of them in the squad, isn't there? Perhaps the other person that's maybe vulnerable, that's been in the team a lot lately for England, is David Willey, the left armour. That he hadn't taken particularly many wickets, and maybe rotation of Stone, Plunkett and Wood would be the way to go, particularly as Wood has his injury troubles. Indeed,
we were speculating as to who, I was asking the question before, who'd taken the most first-class wickets, Ollie Stone or Mark Wood. You'd expect Mark Wood to be way ahead, but he's not that far ahead.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
What was it, 152 for... It was 116 for Ollie Stone.
Yeah, and I think wickets. 151 for Mark Wood.
151 for Mark Wood, yeah. But it's really Mark Wood's been the one who's made way for Ollie Stone in a way, having taken the place of Plunkett on the trip.
I mean, Ollie Stone's had his own fair share of injuries.
He has.
And whilst Mark Wood might be concerned, unfortunately there's a possibility that Ollie Stone won't always be able to maintain this pace and maintain his fitness. So there's always a way back, I think.
Talking of Ollie Stone injuries, are you aware of how he sustained his last injury?
Was there one where he was celebrating a wicket?
It was indeed.
Yeah.
A victory celebration. I mean, heard of, people slamming their arm through locker doors when they're annoyed about getting out, but it's the first time I can remember someone getting injured from an over-elaborate celebration.
Well, there was a couple of cases in football. I don't know if you remember player Luar, who played for Portsmouth and Newcastle.
I didn't catch it the first time. What was it, Luar?
Luar. You set me up there. But he used to do sort of triple somersault after a goal, and I think on one of the landings, after one of the goals he scored, he was out for a few games. And do you remember as well the League Cup final? And it was Steve Morrow scored a winning goal for Arsenal. And then Tony Adams managed to drop him, and he broke his arm. So if you remember that, back in the 90s. So, not necessarily a cricket precedent for that, but there is a sporting precedence for celebrating and then injuring yourself on the field of play.
Well, Des has asked the question that is on the tip of all of our lips, is this tour as meteorologically stupid as a football World Cup in the desert? You're referring to the fact that we're in the rainy season. Yes, we're in Sri Lanka a little too early. The holiday companies would always recommend going in November rather than October if you want to avoid the rainy season. Reminder to stay tuned to Gorilla Cricket, because we're the only station bringing you coverage of the India versus West Indies Test match in Hyderabad. We're going to go over there pretty shortly with a fair break of wind. What's the expression? Not fair break of wind, a fair head of wind, fair head of steam.
Yes.
We're steam technology at the moment. Abhishek Chopra says, for new listeners of Gorilla Cricket, don't go away since there's a rain break. The hard-working gentleman at GC will now do some ball-by-ball commentary from a test match in the neighbouring country of India. Messi Jez says, Dave, I think Ben Stokes might be able to recall an occasion where over-elaborate celebration resulted in injury.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
Are you referring to the incident
nightclub
outside the nightclub?
Yeah.
Are you saying that was part of his post-match celebration. It was part of a wicket-taking celebration. That was bloody delayed response if it was. But I take your general point.
Yeah, it was a night out to celebrate winning the series, I believe.
Abhishek Chopra says Hassan Ali has done himself in after getting a neck sprain during his bomb celebration.
Okay. Oh, that's... yeah, it's easily done.
What was his bomb celebration? Tell me more, Abhishek.
Yeah, tell us, yeah.
I'm with you almost, but... we've got a picture. Gel, thanks for sending in your picture, Gel, from a sunny Cape Verde. Double struggle with the Wi-Fi at the poolside bar and trying to explain cricket to a German. Which one are you having more trouble with, Gel? I would stick to getting your Wi-Fi sorted out. Explaining cricket to a German could take a lot longer. It's never really caught on. A bit like China. Now, cricket in China, there's an interesting one, Ian. China 32 all out. Against Malaysia in some ICC competition the other day. But did you know that when cricket was included in the Asia Games, that China then embraced cricket fully, put loads of money into university cricket, but it's finished as soon as cricket came out of the Asian Games, the money stopped. So you've got one class of 2 or 3 years of cricketers with graduates of universities in China. Apart from that, no one really plays it amongst the Chinese. Plenty of expat cricket over there, of course.
I think they wanted as well, isn't it, that it would be a good thing for cricket to get into the Olympics somehow, because again, that Chinese interest would be revived. That as soon as there's a chance to win a medal for something in the Olympics, then China are interested.
Exactly. Well, this is why you have to get cricket back into the Asian Games. Perhaps not in China the next one, but in Japan when the Asian Games is there in 6 years' time, but also get it into the Olympics. That's what we say. Rain has stopped play in Dambulla. The official is Sri Lanka are 140 for 5, 31 behind the Duckworth-Lewis par score. But fear not, where there is cricket, we'll talk about it. So we're going to go over to Hyderabad and join coverage of day 2 of the West Indies versus India Test series, where in reply to India's first innings score of 311, India are 251 for 4. Here is Nakul to take over the ball by ball.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Bear, for remote technological assistance. Just needed to take out one thing and plug it into another thing. Yes, Ajinkya Rahane is 50 not out of 122 balls. Rishabh Pant is 54 off 69. KL Rahul was the first man to go, bowled by Jason Holder, the returning West Indian captain, for 4 of 25. He's not had a good tour thus far. Prithvi Shaw, continuing his rocketing introduction to international cricket, caught by Shimron Hetmeyer after bowling of Jamel Warrican into the side for the debutant fast bowler Shamar Lewis, who made his debut in the first test. Gone for 70 off 53. Cheteshwar Pujara caught by the sub-wicket keeper Jamal Hamilton off the bowling of Shannon Gabriel for 10 off 41. And Virat Kohli, LBW to the skipper Jason Holder, skipper to skipper, for 45 off 78 deliveries. He reviewed it was judged to be umpire's call on whether it was hitting leg stump or not. But these two have put on a very handy partnership, and India closing in on that West Indies first innings score of 311.
Yeah, a couple of interesting things about what you've just said there, Nakul. First of all, the substitute wicketkeeper, Jamal Hamilton, is in the squad but not in the team. He came on to replace Shane Dowrich when he got injured, even though there's 2 wicket-keepers in this West Indies team. There's Sunil Ambris, who keeps wicket for Windwards, and there's Shai Hope, who keeps wicket for West Indies in the one-dayers. What exactly are this is a question we've been discussing. What are the rules about I think, well, did we discuss this on air?
Yeah, we discussed it on air a couple of times. So there's the regulations have been changed in the last year or so that a sub-fielder can come on and wicket-keep. This is apparently the second time, thank you to Abhishek Chopra for that it's been used in Test cricket. It was earlier this year.
That's right, we did say that
earlier this year. Dinesh Karthik came on for the injured Parthiv Patel in South Africa when India were over there. So, yes, the regulations have been changed. I think it's an eminently sensible change. I don't really see why you should, if it's an impact injury sustained within the game and it was a ball that kept low and smashed Shane Dowrich on the knee. The bigger question, I guess, is whether he'll be able to bat in the second innings, because he's been one of the West Indies' leading lights with the bat in the last year or so.
Yeah, the other thing on the West Indies team you mentioned, Jomel Warrican coming in for a long-deserved go after doing so well for West Indies A, you know, against the England Lions and a couple of other series. But interestingly enough, Kimo Paul loses his place in the team because Jason Holder's come back in, but there's been no room for Kemar Roach. Now, Roach wasn't available for selection in the first test. There was a family bereavement. He was back in Barbados. He's come back out, and he wasn't picked in this. He's their, you know, he's their go-to bowler for taking wickets.
They've gone for the two spinners. They've gone for both Bishu and Warrican. I like Devendra Bishu a lot, but his figures probably haven't been quite what they should be for a bowler of his talent for quite some time in any format.
He's one of those bowlers that's been emerging for so long and never quite emerges. He was named, I think, emerging cricketer of the year, but that was probably about 8 years ago.
I remember when Australia last toured the West Indies, West Indies mostly got battered, but Devendra Bishu, I can't remember where that was, but it might have been Guyana. Or no, it was Dominica, I think, took a 6-for against Australia, ripped through their middle order and bowled really, really well. But hasn't really been able to do quite so much. I think I'm
just questioning whether we've frozen our pictures here. That was all because
we're wondering whether this drinks break's rather gone on for a long time.
Yeah.
Just on that Bishu point from Nakul, he has, you know, he takes a few wickets here and there and everywhere, but he has been pretty expensive. Figures in the first Test match, he went for 247, I think it was, in that big West Indies score of in India score of over 600. So he has been expensive, but well, I just wonder whether West Indies are going to rue the fact that Kemar Roach is sitting on the bench. He's got 163 Test wickets, an average of 28, and you know, there he is on the bench. And you know, I just wonder whether West Indies can afford to leave out someone of his quality. And given that he had 2 years out with injury, came back in, has done extremely well. He's been the spearhead of the West Indies attack. I know Gabriel's got a lot of the headlines because he had a couple of fifers, but you look at Roach's figures, he's been chipping away regularly with a decent economy rate and all those wickets, and he's in the shed watching this, and I wonder whether West Indies are going to rue that.
Yeah, they went in with a second spinner instead, and well, technically he's the first spinner, I guess, because he was in the 11 in first test was in, it escapes me for the moment.
Mumbai, wasn't it?
As Bishu into the left-hander Rishabh Pant. This one turns in from outside off stump. Punt that defends into the leg side. There is no run. We've got some jingles.
Yeah,
I'll lurking around there somewhere.
I'll get them ready. I was just going to ask you, how does sort of Hyderabad compare to other venues around India
well
in terms of its pitch and things like that?
I mean, it's one of the major cricketing centres in India. There's produced there's a Hyderabadi school of batting. There's a slip in for Rishabh Pant batting in the cap, who goes back on his crease and works this into the leg side past the short mid wicket to square leg for a single. Rishabh Pant celebrating his maiden call up to the India one-day international squad, where we hope to be bringing you those. In fact, we will be bringing you those India versus West Indies ODIs, 5 one-day internationals, all day-nighters. Rishabh Pant is in that the squad for the first 2 games, replacing Dinesh Karthik, and will probably be purveying his explosive brand of batting in the middle order.
The camera lingering on that figure of Kemar Roach.
They're having the same discussion we are, it seems. This is short outside off stump and cut by Rahane out to deep point. And he comes through for a single as the Indian vice-captain.
The issue being, Nakul, not so much playing the 2 spinners, it's going in with only 4 bowlers. Where, you know, you've got Ambrose batting 5, Chase at 6, Holder at 8, Dowrich at 7. Holder's a better batsman than that.
So the one to make way then is Bishu in to Punt and defends into the leg side might be Ambrose and bring everyone up one.
I know Ambrose has got a century on this tour, but he hasn't yet looked the part in Test cricket.
Oh, he looked very edgy in the first innings today. And he finds bizarre ways of getting out, not just the hit wickets. This is outside our stump and turn, but slow turn, and on the back foot, Rishabh Pant defending into the leg side. There is no run. These two have put on 100 for the 5th wicket.
He's been very nervy, and what you don't want in a team that already has Hetmeyer batting at 3 is a new player making his way in the game. Is another new player at 5.
As this is tossed up and driven back to the bowler, there is no run. Is he not at 4 with Hope at 5?
No, he's coming in before Hope.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
At 4, sorry.
Yeah, I'll double check.
So Hope at 3.
But the point being, my point still stands, which is you've got 2 very green, inexperienced players being blooded at the same time in a test series against India. I would fancy Holder to get more runs in this series than either of those two, not because they haven't got potential to be good batsmen, because they haven't played any test cricket. They haven't done it, and to throw two of them in.
Roston Chase's innings in the first innings here was very, very controlled indeed. It was really, really good, 106 that he made. Dowrick has been in good form with the bat over the last year or so after a tricky start. Holder's easily good enough to bat 7.
Yes, exactly. You are a batsman. You're now an all-rounder. Play the captain's innings, and therefore you've got room in that team with Holder as an all-rounder to put the extra bowler in, because I can't see this West Indies team taking 20 wickets. I hope to be proved wrong.
Well, taking 20 wickets in
this match.
Taking enough wickets in a way that it still matters.
Yes, yes.
Because they took a bunch of wickets at the end of the first innings in the first test, but by then, taking a wicket at 540 doesn't really mean that much. Warrican in with his slightly sort of diagonal bowling action. He leans over to one side as he releases and really whips himself around, and this is into the leg stump of Ajinkya Rahane, and black to the bowler. There is no run. Warrican in again, loops up and over, and driven back to the bowler. There is no run.
I've got some jingles ready. Unfortunately, there's not one that I can find for the bowler Warrican, but we've got one for Rahane ready to go.
We'll get that after this ball from Jamal Warrican, which is shortish delivery, no hint of turn, and blocked back to the bowler. There is no run, but there is a jingle. Old jingle. It's fine. Skids onto the inside half of the bat, defended into the leg side. There is no run.
Ajinkya Rahane!
Slip in play, short extra, backward point, extra cover mid-off, but there is no one at forward square leg, and the fielder has to run around to pick that up. I think is that Roston Chase there at...
It is.
It's short leg, square leg rather, the very tall figure of Roston Chase. Rahane picks up 2.
Of course, Roston Chase has got a terrific record against India, and the suggestion...
So does Holder.
Yeah, indeed. So Chase should be at 5, and Stuart Law was given a press conference yesterday saying, well, 6 is the right position for him because he's got to do a lot of bowling. Well, he's the 3rd spinner in this team, so surely a 3rd spinner can bat number 5.
One would think, I mean, if Roston Chase is doing a lot of bowling, no disrespect to Roston Chase, he's not a bad part-time option as an off-spinner, but if he's doing a lot of bowling, the West Indies are in trouble.
Yes, as Dallas Nash says. I'll come back to his tweet in a moment.
Warrican in, slides this one into Ajinkya Rahane as he pushes back to the bowler. There is no run. India 264 for 4. Chipping into that West Indies lead.
Yeah, Dallas Nash says, I think he's aiming this at me, you seem to be implying there is logic and sense involved by the Windies selectors. That's where you're going wrong. Fair point, Dallas Nash. That it's a fair point. You've got Roach, you've flown him back out from Barbados, and you're not playing him. It doesn't make sense to me when when you pack a side with batting. Doesn't mean you're going to score more runs. It's just giving people more opportunities to fail. Here's one from Guerrilla Cricket South Africa. So one of the great things about Guerrilla Cricket is that rain in Dambulla means classy, knowledgeable, ball by ball on India versus West Indies. Well, can I repay the compliment and say great coverage of the South Africa-Zimbabwe series. You've got another T20 starting tomorrow, 1:30, I think it is UK time, or 2:30 UK time. Tune in for that. Guerrilla Cricket South Africa at Guerrilla Cricket. You'll find them in the usual way, covering that match between South Africa and
Zimbabwe. Find them on our website, and the player is just there below the one for this. It starts at 1:30 p.m. BST. Bishu in round the wicket to Rishabh Pant, who defends with the back leg sliding out to the offside into the leg side it goes. There is no run. We do have a jingle for the Indian wicketkeeper batsman. Tossed up, and Pant comes down the track, showing his natural instincts, and absolutely hammers this straight to the man at mid-off, who is fairly wide, and Rishabh Pant picks up 4.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
We've seen the effortless power of Rishabh Pant, those of us who watched that innings at the Oval, whether in person or on the TV were privileged to do so.
And he's having a great series against West Indies.
Tossed up and clipped into the leg side by Punt. Can't beat the orthodox mid-wicket. There is the straightest, shortish mid-wicket as well, and there is no run. Yes, he got a rubbing salt in the wounds 100 in the first test.
I think he likes having a go at Bishu. If you look at Bishu's figures in that last.
This one turns from outside, well, from off stump really, but Punt content to let it do its turning, and it just works this off the back foot into the leg side, and there is no run. Good, sensible, measured play.
Jingle for the bowler.
Bishu. Devendra Bishu.
A Bishu, we all fall down. I think we do have a new, properly constructed one, which is hiding somewhere in the emails, which I'll try and dig out for you as opportunity allows, I guess. Rahane on the back foot, content to play the supporting hand to the more pyrotechnic Rishabh Pant, and just pushes a single out to deep cover. India now trail by just 41 in the third session of day 2. If you're wondering why we're bringing you coverage of India versus West Indies from Hyderabad, it's because it's raining in Dambulla. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there. There will be a game. Rather, they got the game in, as it were. This one turns a mile from outside off stump. Must have hit the foot mark out there, and turns and bounces past Rishabh Pant's chest, and well taken by sub-wicket keeper Jamal Hamilton. Not easy, but he took it well. End of the 70th over.
Yes, we were talking before about injury celebrations when after a wicket or whatever, and Abhishek Chopra just explaining what he said earlier. Hassan Ali Doobie-Doo acts as if he's an exploding bomb after taking a wicket.
Yes.
In trying to spread out his arms out wide, he sprained his neck, much to the amusement of his captain Sarfraz. Nick Martin says certainly a few have been injured after getting out, Jason Roy being one of the most stupid examples. Yeah, of course, Ben Stokes as well. Save Witherbush Hospital, I'll come back to that.
Warwick in 159 off his 21 overs. Slide this one into Ajinkya Rahane, who on the back foot pushes back to the bowler. There is no run.
He says, since we're looking at West Indies and England in the same day, he asked the question for the panel, is there a case for the ECB changing the rules?
Oh God, here we go again. Outside off stump and cut by Ajinkya Rahane, very low to the ground, out to deep point. I think I know the name that is going to hove uninvited in the direction of this conversation.
So that Jofra Archer can play for England a bit sooner.
I think the ECB's eligibility rules are needlessly harsh. I mean, when you're more draconian in terms of immigrants than the Home Office, really, what is going on?
That says it all. Well said, Knackle.
Yeah, I think the rule should not be as it is. Whether you can bend it in his particular case is another question. Just change it for everyone, I think. 10 overs left, we think, after this minimum. The over rates have been very good, certainly from India. When the 3 spinners on yesterday, they got an extra 8 or 9 overs in them than they were expecting, or rather than were scheduled. Rishabh Pant defending with half a bat into the offside, and there is no run.
Being a Sussex cricket supporter as I am, in addition to following West Indies, I can give you the lowdown on a mistake that Sussex made relating to Jofra Archer.
This is outside off stump, and Rishabh Pant waiting an age for that one, and with very low hands just trying to guide this one down behind square. Beat the dive of the man at wideish slip, but couldn't beat backward point. There is no run.
After Jofra Archer's first season, Knackle, Sussex failed to observe the rules about number of days spent in this country, and they didn't police that properly. In the meantime, the ECB changed their registration to a longer period.
And Archer ended up playing a tournament abroad, which meant that he had to restart again, as it were.
Correct.
Outside off stump, turning into Rishabh Pant, but well left outside off stump, and there is no run.
Where are the West Indies with appointing their next coach at the minute, Dave?
I'll come back to
Warwick, and last ball of the over, tossed up and drifts into middle and leg, very full, driven back to the bowler. There is no run. 71 overs gone. India 271 for 4.
I mean, this is not a sacking of Stuart Law. He resigned at an amicable resignation. He's with the team in India, and so they have really 3 months to find a replacement. Jimmy Adams as director of cricket, if you like, the Andrew Strauss as was of West Indies cricket. He's responsible for drawing up a shortlist. No doubt there'll be the usual suspects on there, including the figure. There'll be 1 or 2 locals probably in that lineup. of potential candidates. I mean, Courtney Walsh, who's now doing a good job with the Bangladesh bowlers, he might be in the frame.
He's
for
doing
that.
a lot of studio punditry for Crick Info on this series.
He is indeed.
Gary Kirsten, those sort of names that always get mentioned.
There's another name that is on the tip of my tongue. I'll come back to that in a moment.
What's Dav Watmore doing these days?
Yeah, it's about time he popped up again.
Has he coached the West Indies before? He seems to have coached everyone else.
I don't think he has. No, I don't think he has. I think there'll be talk about. There may well be a West Indian who gets the. It tends to go cyclical.
Kirtley's done a job as the bowling coach before. He was the bowling coach during the 2015 World Cup.
Yes, and then and saw them through to that T20 victory, and then was sort of removed controversially because he didn't have the appropriate coaching. Pybus is the name I was thinking of.
Richard Pybus.
He's snuck back in.
Recent Bangladesh coach.
Yes, and he had a spell as director of cricket kind of before Jimmy Adams was appointed, and unbeknownst to Stuart Law, he brought back into the setup recently, and there's talk that he might be a candidate. I hope that's not the case. I don't think he's what West Indies cricket needs.
Right.
Hasn't got the feel or relationship with the players. He was responsible for the Darren Bravo incident.
Bishu tosses this up outside the right hand as off stump. Rahane stretches forward and blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. Darren Bravo, who's back in the T20 squad.
Finally, but that was allowed to fester, that dispute. And I blame Richard Pybus for that.
Yeah, West Indies lost a seriously good player in the middle order in Test cricket, capable of playing very, very long innings. Rahane forward and blocking back to Devendra Bishu. There is no run.
They could really do with him out there. It was Pybus's decision to take him down on contract from an A list to a B list or something, and he didn't like that and responded.
Bishu in, Rahane half forward and just pushes with an open face into the offside. There is no run. I mean, certainly if you replaced Sunil Ambrish with Darren Bravo in this side, it gives it a much more solid look.
Yeah,
I do like the look of Hetmar, and I think he's got a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah. No, Hetmar is a really talented player, and I think he's worth his place.
Yeah. This one slides onto Rahane, pushes into the offside, and there is no run. You have a very good one-day international record. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the one-day internationals when we cover them.
Yeah, Hetmar is a very exciting one-day player. He's very capable of being a Test player as well.
Two shortish, straightish catches at extra cover and mid-wicket. This is short, though, and outside off stump, and nicely cut by Ajinkya Rahane, but West Indies covering their boundary options. The man out there at deep point field, and Rahane picks up a single. This partnership now worth 110. Just steadying the ship somewhat. Not steadying the ship somewhat, but shall we say, giving a little bit more solidity to the Indian score after the dismissal of Virat Kohli. I see Rishabh Pant dropped by the sub-keeper Jamal Hamilton earlier off the bowling of Shannon Gabriel. Not the easiest catch, but his footwork was a little lacking, dropped on 24. As this one turns in from outside off stump, Bishu now round the wicket to the left-hander, and Pant just blocks this into the leg side for a single. India now trail by just 38. End of the 72nd over, India 273 for 4. West Indies might just get a little shot with the second new ball before the end of the day's play. I think, or maybe just first over tomorrow.
Indeed. Tim Cricket Guy's been in touch, Knackle, and says Guerrilla Cricket are the only people who will talk to you about two different cricket games who are playing two different formats on the same day. They also have the jingles all set up for the 4 teams involved. Seamless broadcast. Oh, thanks very much, Tim. Nice to be thank you for that. Appreciation. And Ravi, hello Ravi, you say you're like a Warrican. There's calm in your eye and I'm getting blown away. That's a song lyric, isn't it? From I need to click on the link to find the article that you're referring to there, the song rather, and I don't know what it is.
Is that his submission for a jingle?
Rock Me Like a Warrican.
Neil Young. It's Neil Young.
Okay.
Warrican is going to continue.
Neil
1
Young,
for 60
like a hurricane.
Off his 22 overs. 4 maidens in there. He and Bishop both bowled their fair chunk of maidens. Both bowled 4 maidens apiece. Both Rahane and Pant in the 60s. Pant on 66, facing up to Jamel Warrican, who from over the wicket fires this one in the left arm spinner. Not getting a huge amount of turn, not putting a huge amount of revs on the ball. It's coming out quite flat, and Pant just drops this into the leg side, and there is no run.
Shantanu says, that's music to my ears. You recognise the Neil Young track better than I did.
Huge shot down the ground by Rishabh Pant there. There is a man at long on, but Rishabh Pant is not scared by boundary fielders. A long, lazy swing of the bat. The follow-through right over the shoulder, and it sails over long on's head for 6.
Having been struck by the bats, the ball pitches beyond the boundary. It's a 6.
There is a little bit of rough out there, but Rishabh Pant trusted his eye, trusted his hands, and sent it sailing back over the bowler's head for 6, getting a grin from Ajinkya Rahane. Lovely shot.
This is meat and drink and potatoes for Pant. That's why West Indies lacking in the bowling options here.
Down the track he comes again. This one's gone even further, I think. Yes, it has. He met that one on the half volley. That's gone into the second tier.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
He's an exciting player to watch, Pant, but giving Warrican a few things to think about here. Warrican back in the West Indies team, bowling his slow left arm. Normally you'd whip him out the attack at this point and bring on someone to bowl a bit shorter at Pant, give him something to think about, but West Indies don't have those options in this team.
No, well, they got the seamers. They've got only Gabriel and Holder,
and as you say, they're holding them back for the new ball, so they just haven't got the options at the moment.
Yeah, I mean the other option, I guess, is Roston Chase to just fire them in flat outside off stump.
He's going to do the same. I think Pant won't be. He won't worry about.
Yeah, neither of those are turners, are they? Warrican's had a very good record in the West Indies A setup, but certainly bamboozled the England Lions batsmen when they were out there.
This is a different ball game, isn't it? Playing it, trying to contain Pant, who's in this sort of mood.
Yeah.
Very exciting Test match cricket, though. In case you're thinking we're covering a one-day match the way Pant is playing, it's a Test match. Rain stops play in Sri Lanka, Test cricket in Hyderabad.
So it's 6-6 dot. In fact, dot 6-6 dot. As this is outside off stump and Pant cuts to backward point. There is no run. Takes his cap off, readjusts.
I was poised with the Iron Maiden 6 jingle just in case.
78 off 98 for Rishabh Pant. That's tossed up, a full toss, which Pant somehow manages to not deposit into the stands. Just drives and fielded at short straight mid wicket, diving away to his right there by Shimron Hetmeyer. Thank you very much, David. There is no run. The former West Indies under-19 captain. This is a shorter delivery, and Pant well forward, just blocking into the leg side. There is no run. India trail now by just 26, 285 for 4.
It's players like Pant who are doing so much to keep the spirit of Test cricket alive, because he gets so much entertainment. It's a decent Test match in terms of attendance, this at Hyderabad, and Pant's not disappointing. 78 off 100 balls. That's relatively restrained by his standards.
The first Test was in Rajkot, of course, in Saurashtra, with a home ground of both Jitendra Pujara and Ravindra Jadeja.
Have you got the scorecard for that first Test, Rakul? I'd be very interested to know Devendra Bishu's figures in the first innings. He went for an awful lot of runs.
Well, I mean, everyone did. India made 649 for 9. Devendra
most of them
Bishu
came off Bishu.
54 overs, 3 maidens, 4 for 217.
I think that's one of the highest run aggregates in Test cricket, I believe, for a bowler. I believe so. One of the
It's
highest.
one of. I think Imran Tahir holds the record.
Okay, yeah. No, that wasn't a record, but it's bloody high, isn't it? Yeah, I just went for 217, guys.
54 overs as well. Out of 150 overs. It's a thankless task it was for him. Devendra Bishu none for 69 off his 18 overs today. Quite grateful. I think he's bowling to Ajinkya Rahane in terms of his figures, who just calmly, as though nothing is happening at the other end, just blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. The occasionally maligned, and very harshly maligned in my opinion, Ajinkya Rahane, just because he's not flashy doesn't mean he's not a very important part of this Indian team. Forward comes Rahane, blocks into the offside. There is no run. He is a lot of 100-ball 30s in England, which do have their value, and will be a crucial part of the 11 when India to Australia later this year.
Yeah, he's a very decent foil for the way Pant's playing.
As Bishu into the Indian vice-captain, tossed up and pushed by Ajinkya Rahane into the offside, fielded at cover. There is no run. Jamel Warrican got the wicket of Prithvi Shaw, another very exciting young player playing just his second Test match. He got 134 on debut in the first Test, got 71 here in the second before spooning Jamal Warwick into Hetmeyer at cover. 70 rather. Bishu in two leg side, he too short, and Rahane has all the time in the world to go on the back foot and whip this into the leg side. Fielded out there by, I think, Shannon Gabriel. I say fielded. It apologetically dribbles to him, and there is no run. Sorry, a single. Punt back on strike, now looking to ruin Devendra Bishu's figures. What have we got? There's only one man saving one on the offside. There's a slip, an extra cover, everyone else back on the boundary. On the leg side, we've got a short straight mid-wicket, an orthodox mid-wicket, and then long off, deep square, and long leg. There's a big gap of a mid-wicket if Rishabh Pant wants to take it there, but that's well outside off stump, so much so that Pant has to heave himself bodily onto fifth stump to defend this back down the track, and there is no run. So Jason Holder in the press earlier saying it's been very difficult for him as a West Indies captain and as the team not having any sense of continuity with the chopping and changing of the coaching staff, as Bishu drops this one short, and Rishabh Pant just going very low and very low hands, just opening the face and chopping this one out to Shannon Gabriel, who galumps round from deep point, and they come through for 2. End of the 74th over, India 288 for 4, trail by 23.
Yeah, Jason Holder referring not just to the Stuart Law resignation, but also to the fact the bowling coast has changed again. It's now Corey Collymore on this tour. Stuart Williams is still in the setup. I'm not quite sure what he adds to the picture.
Is he the batting coach?
God help us if he is. Yeah, he took over as caretaker for coach for a while, and I won't be negative.
Yeah, because of course they lost Otis Gibson to South Africa.
Yeah, well,
he's doing a very good job with
Otis Gibson was fired by the chairman, Dave Cameron. So it was later that he got because he went to England bowling coach.
Yes,
he then went to South Africa, where he's doing a pretty good job. Thanks for keeping an eye on things in Dambulla. Thank you. Badshaw of Dublin says watching the Sri Lankan.
As Warwick continues to Rahane, that's too short, and Rahane cutting off the stump, so he plays that shot very well, but can't beat the sprawling cover, and the point rather, there is no run. It is still raining, I take it.
Yeah, he's watching the Sri Lankan groundspeople.
They're very, very good, they have to be. This one drifts into leg stump, and Rahane just content to block this to square leg, and there is no run.
Well, Badshaw of Dublin says watching the Sri Lankan groundspeople moving covers on is like watching phalanxes of hoplites marching towards certain watery death.
Very, very good. This is angling into leg stump, and Rahane rather feels he misses out there. I think he was trying to work that finer and get a single, but straight to square leg, and there is no run. Warwick in with that leaning approach of his, the arm coming through at about 45 degrees. Square leg and mid wicket seemed to completely miss that ball as it
after you, Claude,
as it dribbled between them. They looked at each other, they looked at the ground, they looked at each other. One of them looked to camera like Oliver Hardy, and the ball dribbled out to the square leg boundary for 4. Another fine mess you got me into.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
I hope they do go for more than the 6 overs remaining after this, otherwise we're going to have to find something else to talk about. I wonder if there's any other cricket on.
Afghan Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not at this time of day, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's been on at 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. They've had games.
So all 3 formats in one day.
Yeah, so we might be a bit early for it. But
apparently the commentary for that, Taz has been complaining about the standard of commentary for that, and the lack of research and the complete inability to pronounce players' names.
I've had a feed on at work with it, but without the sound. So
Warwick in and Rahane forward and blocking back to the bowler. There is no run. Jamal Warwick cuts a very fine figure. His collar up and his shortish dreads. Jason Holder looking somewhat lost in the outfield. West Indies favouring the buttoned up and collared up approach. This is full and just drifting into middle stump. Rahane forward blocks up to Warwick, and there is no run. India trail by 19 with 5 overs to go to the new ball.
Yeah, the fashionable look as favoured by Shea Hope, who indeed has been batting at 3. Napoli, you're right. Hetmeyer at 4, but I still think 2 inexperienced middle-order batsmen is 1 too many, and West Indies need another bowler desperately to come on here to break this partnership. Reminder that you're listening to Test cricket from Hyderabad, West Indies, India versus West Indies, because of the rain in Dambulla. Meanwhile, back in Sri Lanka, Darren is looking at the replay of the Wokes dismissal, and not happy, I think, with that.
Yeah,
what do you think of that one?
Well, you know how that works. If it hits the batsman on the batter on the full, the DRS has to assume that it's going to go straight on that line. There is no leeway in that. Indeed, the umpires are told to do the same thing. When the ball hits on the full, you have to ignore what it's doing in terms of swing, and letter of the law, it is out, although it did look odd. We do have a change of bowling from the South Pavilion end. Devendra Bishu relieved of duty for now, and with his, shall we say, languid style into the attack is this man.
The chase is on. Roston chase.
Slip in place mid-wicket. Long leg. No, there isn't a long leg. Sorry, there's a deep square leg and a long on. I think I don't think there's anyone behind square on the leg side that I can see. Slip in place, as I say. Chase fires this one in short, like a stop-motion film of Carl Hooper, and this is a short ball which punt flaps out to square leg for a single.
Oh, Carl Hooper. A very underrated bowler, I thought.
That is a lovely action. There's that easy approach to the crease.
Unfairly described as lollipops.
No, he was a decent bowler and a glorious batsman to watch.
Oh, I say. Now runs a chain of restaurants in
there's a good interview with him on Crick Info at the moment.
Yes, indeed.
It's very good. Talking about how he came back into the side as captain after taking some time off he was caring for one of his wife had some difficulties in pregnancy, and he went to care for her. So for the right-hander, we've got the slip. We've got the two men saving one on the offside as the stream has frozen, and the stream unfreezes in time for Ajinkya Rahane to block into the offside for no run.
Yeah, he came back as captain and scored a noticeable series victory over South Africa in West Indies. It was a wonderful test match. I was lucky enough to see that one in Sabina Park.
Roston Chase hovers in his approach as the stream freezes again. Fires this one in full and straight, and Rahane blocks to the keeper. To the bowler, there is no run.
109 in this session. 119 runs off 28 overs and no wickets. And West Indies still obviously persevering with the spin.
Chase in outside off stump, and Rahane on the back foot very quickly and punches this one out nicely in front of square. The man in the deep is at point. He has no hope of getting to that. 4 runs, so Ajinkya Rahane moves to 69. Remember, you can tweet us at Gorilla Cricket, and please do include the hashtag Gorilla Cricket for extra visibility on this match, on the game in Sri Lanka, on any other cricketing matters, or indeed anything else that's on your mind this lovely Saturday. Oh, well, it's lovely here anyway. Not so lovely in Dambulla, unless you're a duck. This is outside off stump, and on the back foot is Ajinkya Rahane punching past the bowler. Chase neglects to do his own fielding, and then is he just livid that he's not beaten mid-off, or is he saying he desperately wants a drink?
What's up with him?
Ajinkya Rahane
has he jarred his hand or
done
something?
into his hand, yeah.
Yeah, maybe just jarred that as it came off the bottom of the bottom of the bat, just that bit where you get the shock up the arm. He's holding his arm at a very odd angle. Ajinkya Rahane, some late drama.
He seemed to let out a cry of pain.
But he's also smiling while doing it. His left arm doesn't appear to be in a good way.
Is this a tactic to ensure that the new ball isn't taken tonight?
It seems a slightly odd choice for that to happen. Patrick Farhat, the Indian physio, is out there with one of the sub fielders. I can't quite identify the sub fielder from this vantage point. But a little break in play there in Hyderabad. There's Ajinkya Rahane gets his left hand looked to his left thumb. Indeed, by the Indian physio, he's been given a drink by the substitute fielder.
Here's a question. Thanks to Chris TB for this one. Chris, you've got a spot on with this. A little poser. 4 West Indian players. Here's one for you, Knuckle and Ian. 4, and for everyone out there, 4 West Indian players with first names in this squad, starting with K. Craig, Brathwaite, Kieran, Powell, Kemar, Roach, Chemo, Paul. England have only had 4 K-named Test cricketers since 1989, and no 2 ever played in the same game. You're welcome to guess the 4 if you have the time.
Kevin Peterson.
Yeah, that's the
easy
straightforward one.
Okay, nice one, Chris. TB.
Kabir Ali.
Oh, hello. That was a good one.
I'm trying to think.
Got to be a
That's
Keith.
2, so...
Since 1989.
89. I don't know if he played a test. Keith Medlicott would be okay as a possible, but I'm not sure he actually played a test, so probably not.
I don't think Kadir Ali ever played Test cricket.
No,
may not have
definitely
even
not.
played for England. The brother of Kabir Ali and both cousins of Moeen Ali. So we've got Kevin Peterson, we've got Kabir Ali, who I think only played the one Test match for England
It's
sometime
not really
in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, I was going the wrong way about that. I was thinking of how many Craig, Keemars, Kierans, or Chemos are there, but that's the wrong way of looking at it.
Trying to
Maybe
think
Keith's, Chris with a K.
all of the Keiths, Keith Fletcher.
Yeah, all in the
that's
past.
too early.
Yeah.
So 4 Ks Test cricketers
That's a
since
very good question.
1989.
Who was that? Who sent that in?
That was from Chris TB.
Chris Tyndall Bisco. Thank you very much. It's a little brain teaser as Ajinkya Rahane gets his hand seen too. A reminder that you can support our coverage, Guerrilla Cricket. So we not just bringing you Sri Lanka, the England's tour of Sri Lanka, but we bring you cricket when there is no cricket there. We hastily switch over to the India-West Indies test match. We will try and keep you up to date with as much cricket as we can from around the world, and we can only do that with your support. These technical setup needs money. The lovely wood-panelled studio in here looking slightly like the set of an 80s game show. The lovely window out onto the golden Buddha of Dambulla. All of this costs money. The lighting rigs, the computers, the servers, the roof over our heads, and the continued existence of this broadcast is very much in your hands. Patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. We've had one very kind donation in today, or rather pledge of $10 in today already. If we can get a few more before the end of today's play, and indeed through this series, you would be that'd be very, very welcome. And you will go on the scroll of honour on the bottom of our Facebook live feed. We've also we did have an honours board, which I think has been covered up by this lovely backdrop of ours. Yes, $10 or more a month gets you on the scroll of honour. We're back with the cricket in Hyderabad. Ajinkya Rahane's hand is fine, and he blocks out the last ball of the 76th over into the offside. There is no run. India closing in on the West Indies score as the West Indies close in on the new ball.
Thanks to Katie Scott, Dr. Katie Scott, sorry, Keaton Jennings, there's a second one. Well done, Katie.
So that's 3 we've got now. Kabir Ali, Kevin Peterson and Keaton Jennings.
Okay, one more, guys. One more we need. Ravi, Ravi says, I thought Hetmeyer was picked so that West Indies could keep their record of only ever having 2 players with the same first name. That's Shimron Hetmeyer. The other Shimron?
I don't know, another Shimron. That's very good.
Shimron.
That's very good, I don't know. Yeah, as Dave was saying, a very dominant session for India. 124 runs in 29 overs, going at over 4 and over. They scored pretty quickly in the first session, although I think that was possibly the end of the West Indies innings as well. Then a pretty good middle session for the West Indies, 93 for 3. Certainly, I think honours even. But Pant and Rahane have very much taken the game away. Not taken the game away exactly from the West Indies, but certainly they've dragged India very much back into position of being favourites from here, 297 for 4, trailing by just 14. And we do have a change of bowling as the 77th over begins. Another part-time off-spinner, another K, who just fires this one on to off-stump and defended into the offside by Punt, and there is no run. Unjingled bowler, shortly to be not unjingled, which is a slightly odd sentence, which threatened to get away from me, is in round the wicket to the left-handed Rishabh Pant, who is on the back foot and punching up to mid-off. There is no run.
Abhishek Chopra wonders whether Keaton Jennings qualifies. I think you're making a little dig at Keaton there. And he has represented a test player. Save Witherworth Hospital says, did Kim Barnett, did he play immediately after the Rebel Tour purge?
I think that might be the one.
I think that's the one, because he was playing a test at some point in 1989, I reckon. So,
and indeed, Chris has put us out of our misery. Indeed, it was in reverse order: Keaton Jennings, Kevin Peterson, Kabir Ali, and Kim Barnett in reverse. chronological order and not a single K player in the 90s. Thanks for that, Chris.
That was a nice little exercising of the grey matter, as this is... so the Rahane punch went into the leg side, punt is on strike, and we do have a jingle for the bowler.
No, it really is hate. Craig Brathwaite.
Craig Brathwaite, very much a part-timer, even more part-timey than Roston Chase. This one barely bounces as it gets through to Rishabh Pant, who just blocks this into the legs, into the offside rather. There is no run. India 299 for 4, trailing by just 12 as we come towards the end of day 2 of this second test of the series, second and final test of the series. Forward comes Rishabh Pant and drives pleasantly out into the offside. Fielded by the offside sweeper, Pant picks up a single, moves to 83.
Right, Ravi, yes, you've explained it here. Shimron is unique. The only name ever had by 2 West Indians in the same team is Ian or some such. It was a lunchtime guerrilla game once, yes. It's coming back to me. You're absolutely right, Ravi. Thanks for that. So it's no 2 West Indies players have ever had the same first name
playing in the same 11. Very, very good. Brathwaite in round the wicket to Rahane, who just pushes this flat delivery on middle stump out into the leg side, fielded by the leg side sweeper, who was the same man as the offside sweeper, picking for the right and left-hander. A single off the last ball of the over. India trail by just 10, 301 for 4, 3 overs to go to the new ball, although they might take stumps tonight and then come back with a new ball tomorrow morning.
Abhishek Chopra says KS Ranjit Singh. I think slightly earlier than 1989. What year would that have been, Knackle?
That would have been in the 10s and 20s, wouldn't it? I don't, maybe the 30s?
Yeah, just going on, just to support you on the part-time nature of Craig Brathwaite's bowling. Although he's played 50 test matches, he's only taken 15 wickets at an average of 58.8. Best bowling of 6 for 29.
I remember looking at that scorecard and being surprised by it. Who was that against?
So thinking, what would his average be without that?
Yeah.
Craig maths.
Does anyone want to come in to replace me? Alec and Tony are still here and board in the green room.
Roston Chase in, fires this one into Ajinkya Rahane, who blocks back to the shaven-headed, close-cropped, bearded Roston Chase, and there is no run. It's a very striking figure, does Roston Chase, that tall, thin frame and the shiny bald head and the thick beard. He's in now and outside off stump and blocked by Rahane into the offside. He does that thing that a lot of West Indian off-spinners do, where he gets to the crease very front on, takes a few steps, and then takes a few steps to come through side on, and then bowls.
You thinking Roger Harper?
A little bit Hooper, actually, a little bit Chris Gale. As he's in now and fires this one in again to off stump. A little bit of bounce. Rahane plays off the back foot into the leg side, and there is no run.
I guess he's doing his job here. He's not actually giving them as much to hit as Warrican.
No, and I think Rahane and Pant are very much let's not get out to the part-timers, lads. Slip in place. This one down the leg side, and Rahane just working this out to the square leg boundary rider, and picks himself up a single. Not a lot of not a lot to hit, but also not a lot of pressure from Chase and Brathwaite. They're very much waiting for the new ball.
Roston Chase will be feeling good after his innings of 108 in the first innings. He didn't go on and get a biggie, which is what West Indies were looking for, but it's still a big achievement.
Yeah, he got out relatively early after the resumption. He made 98 yesterday. Slip in and 3 men saving one on the offside, and one as a sort of catching extra cover, plus the catching extra cover almost straightish mid-off, as this one from Chase round the wicket to the left-handed Rishabh Pant is blocked back to the bowler. There is no run. Last ball of the 78th over. I think I might go to Jingles and Alec come in and do some ball by ball as Chase tosses this one up outside off stump. A little bit of turn, just straightens through to sub-wicketkeeper Jamal Hamilton. There is no run. India 302 for 4. 3 overs left today, minimum 2 overs to go to the new ball, so we might just get the one in with the new ball. I'll leave Dave to read some tweets, and then I'll move chairs.
We need your money. West Indies, India 302 for 4 in response to West Indies 311. You were in Hyderabad for West Indies India Test match because it's raining in Dambulla. When 140 for 5, Sri Lanka 31 behind the DLS par. So, but fear not, where there is cricket, we'll talk about it. So we're doing bonus ball-by-ball coverage of India versus West Indies on day 2 from Hyderabad. Alex, welcome back.
Hello there. Yes. So the situation I think in Dambulla is it's about to be called off because it's apparently still tipping it down, and they have to. And I think they have to finish it 6 regardless. So they've only got about 20 more minutes even to get them on the playing field.
Okay, so 20 minutes of coverage from Hyderabad as well, because I think they're nearing end of play. So we'll know where we are in about 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Did India tour the West Indies last year? Because I believe I remember doing my audition for this was submitting a commentary piece of me commentating on India versus West Indies.
Well, there was
versus
the
India.
famous abandoned tour.
That was
an India.
That was West Indies touring India a few years ago. India did tour the West Indies. It was one of the few away tours they did.
Yes, I thought you were saying in India. No, India tour of West Indies was when Roston Chase did so well. Yeah,
exactly.
That was in compensation for the abandoned part of the compensation package for the abandoned series when West Indies sort of effectively went on strike.
Oh, we do have a change of bowler, interestingly, coming on before the new ball.
Do you know who's playing? No, who is that playing? Why, it's Gabriel playing. Gabriel saying, will you be ready to go?
Shoaib Khan on Crick Tracker. Sorry, after this ball.
He's bowling over the wicket, and that is dabbed down into the ground. It's fielded by the keeper just in front of first slip. That's and they're now showing, I think, is that how Darrick's injured himself?
Yeah, one just that snuck through and clonked him right on the kneecap.
Oh, that does look nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, Shoaib Khan says smiley face emoji. Rithik Reddy Gautam says haha, and Mohammad Wasim says thumbs up emoji on Crick Tracker.
Hello to all of you.
Yeah, please tell your friends and share the link that we're giving you coverage of the final knockings of day 2 out there in Hyderabad between India and the West Indies.
Yep. So they're now focusing on the substitute keeper as Chase is in again. Gabriel is in again. He is going over the wicket, and that is pushed out into the onside behind square leg, and they've jogged through for a nice single. They are approaching parity, 303 for 4. This 4th wicket partnership has sapped the Windies a little, isn't it? Especially when they got Kohli out for sub 50. Looked for a moment like they might have a proper game on their hands.
I mean, they still might, to be fair. India still are behind, although they do have some batting to come after this in the form of Jadeja and Ashwin, who are no mugs with the bat. Jadeja, of course, got his maiden Test 100 in the first Test of the series.
I mean, West Indies, we were saying, have gone into this game with only 4 frontline bowlers. So
yeah, they're feeling the effects of that now.
Yeah, you had that huge, big spell of Warwickon and Bishu where they were scoring with 5 and over, and there was no option to replace them.
As Gabriel is in again, he's got a big, almost languorous run up, and he's in, and that's again just pushed behind point by Pant, and they've gone through. I imagine, they've just gone through for the single.
I think Shannon Gabriel could possibly afford to take a little bit more energy out of his run-up, given his noble propensity. Thank you very much, Ian. We have news from Dambulla that they've called it off. So England have won the second one-day international of the series by 31 runs. With the first one rained off, they now lead the series 1-0 after 3 more to play.
Yep. Well done, then.
Congratulations to England, and I suppose Owen Morgan would be candidate for player of the match.
Yeah, I think so. But Wokes and Stone both bowled very well. And certainly Moeen and Liam Dawson did his part.
You could say Malinga as well.
Sure.
As Rahane is to face Gabriel as he comes in, and he's blocked that nicely, push it back up to the bowler for no run. Any other tweets?
There's still a bit of action going on around this dismissal of Wokes, which has upset a few people earlier.
Is this the LBW?
Yeah, the LBW. Chris back in touch and has looked up this. We were talking about West Indies. No 2 West Indian players for a long time have played in the same team with the same first name. Thanks for checking, Chris. Darren Bravo and Sammy played 27 tests together. That's the last example we can think of. Darren Bravo and Darren Sammy.
Yeah, I knew that there's another Darren. And Totally Forgotten as in again, and it's pushed out towards a shortish mid-off, and there's no run.
Both spelled with the usual 2 R's rather than the slightly earlier Darren of West Indian cricket, Darren Powell.
Yes.
One of the worst number 11s of his era.
Cricket gets
part of the.
He wasn't quite Chris Martin.
No, of course he was part of the famous million Stanford match.
Yes,
got
he
his
was.
$1 million, or got his share of it, and bought a farm, and gone into politics.
Oh, has he?
Yes.
Well, he's done better with his share of the million than most people.
Wavell Hines, of course, is now standing for election.
He's done rather better out of it than Alan Stanford did.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them gave their money over to Alan Stanford
that's
to
right.
invest.
John DePaul was one of those, unfortunately. Yeah.
As
I'll put it back in.
Gabriel comes in, and that's worked off of his toes. A nice full ball, but Rahane is able to push it out into the onside defensively for no run.
I mean, certainly West Indies have let India off the hook here. The lack of backup bowlers.
Yeah.
Just to change the pace and put Pant under some pressure, he was allowed to play in his free-scoring way. He loves attacking the spinners, doesn't he? And he's really made a mess of Bishu and Warrican's figures in this.
Yeah,
Chases preserved
and now
things
with
a
the
little bit.
seamers on with the new ball, he's set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been a recurrent problem for the West Indies. I remember in 2012 that in the second test in England, there was a point at which the match got called off for bad light. On the second day, I think, when England were motoring along at 8 and over, and it's like, you can't really call this bad light for playing him when KP and Bell are seeing it like a beach ball and sending it back over the bowlers' heads. But they've had. I mean, the problem is that the first-class system isn't producing the players.
Well, no, it's a selection issue. You've got Kemar Roach in the hutch.
Oh yeah.
But I take your point. The wickets are too slow and all that sort of
that
thing.
ball from Brathwaite slides down the leg side a bit. Punt does have a bit of a pull, but he misses it entirely. It goes through to the keeper.
You know, you've got Kemar Roach on the bench, so he'd have been useful out there. And there's a few others I could name.
Brathwaite is in again, and it's blocked back up for no run.
Well, I take your point. You're saying the predominance of spin in the first-class game in West Indies.
Yeah,
but that's not necessarily a problem. I think the pitches in the West Indies have got better. If they're aiding spinners, at least they're aiding someone.
Yes, as that is off the inside edge, and but it's no run.
The issue in a lot of the issue before was that it wasn't even giving much aid to the spinners because they were so slow. At least now there's a little bit of pace in the pitches.
Yeah, as they go through for a single, as Punt just punches that through into the offside. He is on 73. Rahane is on 73. Punt is on 85. The score is 305 for 4.
So did Gable not take the new ball?
No,
they've got 2 more balls.
They gave him one over before the
Okay.
new ball.
I don't always think that's necessarily that bad an idea. It's a good idea to, reduces the chance they're going to be bowling a bunch of looseners to get themselves.
I don't even know about the looseners. I mean, there's probably one. You maybe get one over in with the new ball, and give Gabriel a go, just to see if he can get a wicket before the new ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Another defensive shot from Rahane. No run.
Chris, you come back again. Dwayne Smith and Dwayne Bravo played 4 tests together. Nice research.
There we go. Brathwaite finishes over. That is just nicely stroked away on the offside by Rahane. Get 1 for it. Yep. End of the over. 306 for 4.
Richard German has tweeted us, said he's really enjoyed his first time listening in today to Guerrilla Cricket. Great show. Love the audience interaction via Twitter. New fan. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Thanks
I
for
think
joining
one
us.
of the impacts of BBC losing the rights is that everything's been shaken up a bit. People are looking for alternative coverage.
And of course, Wisden's coverage of that amazing first test between Australia and Pakistan out there in Dubai.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
I think it's good. All these new voices and opportunities to listen to cricket has to be a good thing.
And of course, White Line Wireless were covering that game, so you actually had 2 independent ball-by-ball broadcasters, and briefly for a session 3, because we did some of that game as well while it was raining in the first ODI. Our next official game is on Wednesday, when the 3rd ODI in Pallekele.
Nice. What's the weather?
Don't
what's the
forget
weather
Guerrilla
forecast for
Cricket
that?
South Africa tomorrow.
Yes, of course. It's the 3rd and final T20 between South Africa and Zimbabwe.
So it looks like they've taken the new ball, I believe. Or it's available. There seems to be a lot of pointing and gesticulating out in the background. Take the new ball.
What's going on? There's a discussion between Gabriel and Holder, which is being conducted at a distance of about 60 yards. Gable's at the end of his run-up. Holder's in slip, I think. What are they trying to say to each other?
Judging by that field, I don't think they've taken the new ball.
No, they can't have done. You surely want to make the most of it. As he is in, and it's dabbed out into offside. There's a bit of enough of a gap they can run through for a single.
Now, in the words of Fred Truman, I don't understand what's going off out there. Why would you not take the new ball now? This partnership's gone on. You've just got a couple of overs left in the session today. Why would you not take the new ball?
I don't understand. I really don't.
What's going off?
Like, you're not going to significantly damage your position in 1-2 overs.
No, especially they've only got 4 runs to play with anyway. You know, the worst that'll happen is it'll hurtle its way to the boundary a couple of times.
Yeah, and you end up behind by 6.
Yeah, and
you might get a wicket, which is exactly what you need to get yourself back in the game.
And you're not getting anything out the old ball. There's no obvious swing. There's no real spin at the moment.
No,
I mean, it's not from these spinners.
There's been a lot of criticism about the quality of the SG balls this year.
As Gabriel is in. Oh, that did pass. I'll tell you what, that one was a good ball.
Question there. Maybe he's getting some movement.
Yeah, but that ball looks ragged.
No, that's a please skip, give me the new ball delivery.
Well, I thought that
it
was Gabriel who doesn't want to take it. It was Holder who wanted Gabriel to take the new ball.
I can't understand why Gabriel would want to bowl with the old ball. I mean, it's gone off the seam a little bit, but that can happen with the new ball as well, and presumably quicker. There's been a lot of criticism. The SG is renowned for holding its firmness and its seam in abrasive conditions, but apparently this batch are not doing that, and they're going very soft. Yeah. So a number of players of Umesh Yadav, Ashwin and Kohli have all said that they'd rather play with either the Duke or the Kookaburra in India.
That's got to be bad if people are saying, can we have the Kookaburra?
Well, it's consistent throughout.
Yes, it is consistent, as he's in again. It's a foolish ball, and it's defended, and it's a no ball.
I mean, it's Shannon Gabriel. These things will happen.
I'm sorry, Smokey. You were over the line. That's a foul.
Yeah.
I do like the way that the umpire...
Oh, it's a back foot. Oh, it's a back foot no ball. Very well spotted.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Going
impressive.
so wide of the crease. I wonder what Corey Collymore, the bowling coach, thought about that. Whether we'd be too impressed by that.
I found out Corey Collymore was the bowling coach. I don't think I'd thought about him in about 5-6 years.
No, he's
but
been
the problem is
in
family haven't thought about him in 5-6 years.
Yeah, he was a very economical bowler, Corey Collymore, very accurate.
Yeah, but he was one of the post-Walsh Ambrose revolving door.
No, but he is better than that because he kept an end. He kept it a bit like Cameron Cuddy. What was it?
Cameron Cuffey.
Cuffey kept an end up. So yeah, he performed a useful role. He could block an end
if
up.
the West Indies had a strike bowler at the time.
Again, and it's a push through into the offside for no run.
You don't count Ravi Rampal then?
Well, Rampal was a decent bowler in his time, but it wasn't until Jerome Taylor emerged onto the scene a few years later that the West Indies started to carry a threat with the ball again, post Walsh and Ambrose. Because you had guys like Vasbert Drakes and Mervyn Dillon. These guys who were yeoman performers, but and capable of bowling very long economical spells, but. Not guys who were going to rip through an attack, a bowling lineup.
Yeah, Merv Dillon was a real trier, but he had his time in the sun. Don't forget to listen Guerrilla Cricket South Africa tomorrow. They're really good fun. Know their stuff.
I've been very impressed.
Yes, they're on tomorrow with the T20 South Africa versus Zimbabwe.
Brilliant. As Gabriel in, and it sort of shapes away, but well outside fifth stump line, and there's no run.
Okay, we've got another teaser here. Following on from the K question, we've now got the W question. The W question is, let me just get this right. It's about the number of Ws. What other Ws have bowled in Test matches for England since the 1980s? Wokes played today. Name 4 others.
So surnames we're talking?
Yes, surnames now. 4 Ws, please.
Nothing is springing to mind immediately.
No.
Richard German has offered up Willie and Willis.
Test cricket we're talking. David Willie's not played a test.
Peter Willie.
Did Peter Willie bowl? Not much. He did a bit, I guess.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because Bairstow, David Bairstow, took some wickets from him. In again, and it's a nice defensive push there from Pant for no run.
Mark Wood, of course.
Mark Wood, and Richard has come back in with Craig White being the other one.
Yeah.
Back to West Indies
Craig
players.
White was quick for a time.
He was. That's right. He was one of the quickest, wasn't he? Back to West Indian players with the same first name. Thanks to Cheap Steve, Winston Davis and Winston Benjamin playing together against India in 1987. Nice one. Steve, not cheap at all.
Cheap Steve, one of our Patreon donors. Thank you very much. Cheap
indeed.
Steve.
Gabriel is at the top of his mark. It's the final ball of his over. And he is in, and that's a filthy full toss, and he gets lucky there because all Pant did was drive it straight up into the offside where it was fielded by the fielder out just inside where the 30.
That's stumps.
That's stumps, yeah.
Yeah, but you could tell by the way Virat Kohli was clapping, he knew that was the last over of the day. So India have got through to stumps on day 2, 308 for 4, trailing by just 3, 135 runs in the session for no wicket lost. An excellent 5th wicket partnership between Ajinkya Rahane, the Indian vice captain, and the young, exciting Indian wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant. Those two have really given India from position. You're right, Alec. After Virat Kohli got out in the 40s, LBW to the West Indian captain Jason Holder, there was definitely a sniff there for the West Indies, with India looking to play extra bowlers. I mean, not that Jadeja and Ashwin are bad at all with the bats, and both have Test hundreds against their name. Ashwin has 4 against the West Indies alone, and Jadeja got his maiden Test ton in the first Test of this series. But these two have put on for the 5th wicket. If you just bear with me 1 second. These two have put on, where's the partnership stats?
146.
Yeah, 146 for the 5th wicket. Very impressive.
Nice.
Considerably more than the best stand in the West Indies innings, which was 104 between Jason Holder and Roston Chase. Yes, West Indies made 311, with Roston Chase making 106, 52 for the captain Jason Holder coming back from injury, 6 for 88 for Umesh Yadav. Very impressive from the Indian fast bowler. India themselves are down a bowler, of course, because Shardul Thakur, who made his Test debut, making his debut in this Test with Mohammad Shami rested, lasted only 10 balls before suffering a recurrence of his groin injury. So there have been better debuts. 1 for Ashwin, 3 for Kuldeep Yadav, with Jadeja wicketless, and then for India, KL Rahul, continuing his poor series, was bowled by Jason Holder, dragging on for 4 off 25. Cheteshwar Pujara was caught behind by the sub-wicketkeeper Jamal Hamilton after Shane Dowrich was forced off by one that kept low and smashed him on the kneecap. He went for 10 off 41 with the bowling of Shannon Gabriel. Then there was a decent partnership between well, actually, no, there wasn't a decent partnership, sorry. Prithvi Shaw, got out just before Cheteshwar Pujara, gone for 70 off 53, so he dominated the opening partnership of 61 between he and KL Rahul. He drove Jamel Warrican straight to Shimron Hetmeyer at cover at 70 off 53. There was then a little bit of a partnership. The partnership was 60 between Kohli and Rahane. Kohli then going LBW, falling across outside off stump and being trapped in front by the skipper Jason Holder for 45. He reviewed. It was seen to be umpire's call, so India did not lose the review. And then this partnership was saying 146 between Ajinkya Rahane, who's 75 not out of 174 balls, and then Rishabh Pant, 85 not out of 120, carrying on his excellent start to Test cricket. 10 fours and 2 big sixes that we saw of Devendra Bishu. The bowling figures: Shannon Gabriel, 13 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 73. Jason Holder, 14 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 45. Jamel Warrican, 24 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 76. Roston Chase, 9 overs, 1 maiden, none for 22. Devendra Bishu, 19 overs, 4 maidens, none for 72 after his 4 for 200 and plenty in the first Test. And Craig Brathwaite, just the 2 overs for 6 with no maidens. 19 extras for West Indies, 12 byes, 2 leg byes and 5 no balls. I don't know to what extent those byes were actually the fault of Dowrich or indeed Jamal Hamilton. But India 308 for 4, trail by just 3, and we'll look to put together a sizable first innings lead as we go through day 3. But the main game that we were covering, if you are just joining us here on Guerrilla Cricket, ended with England winning by 31 runs on the Duckworth-Lewis Stern method. They made 278, with Owen Morgan top scoring with 92 off 91. Lasith Mandlinga taking his first ODI fifer since the Asia Cup final of 2014 against Pakistan. West Sri Lanka 140 for 5. 3 wickets for Chris Woakes, 1 for the very impressive debutant Ollie, not debutant quite, but Ollie Stone, and 1 for Liam Dawson. In truth, they were never really close, despite a decent partnership between Dhananjaya Da Silva and Thisara Pereira. We'll go to David for a few final tweets.
Well, yeah, just before we do the, I think Bear and Hendo wanted us to do a little wrap on the Sri Lanka-England match separately. So I was going to cue you in for that in a moment.
Sure, we can do that.
Just while you're preparing for that, I just wanted to round off a couple of tweets. Mog says, we've had the Tendulkar comparisons, but is Shaw getting the Don yet? Prithvi Shaw, is he going to be the next Bradman? Bit early for that, isn't it?
The escalation of hype.
Yeah. From Wire Cricket Club, here at the Wire Cricket Club, we bemoan the lack of BBC TMS for the Sri Lanka-England tour, but the second ODI we're giving Guerrilla Cricket a go. We are impressed by their ball-by-ball so far, and no ads. Oh, thank you very much, Wire Cricket Club, for that. Abhishek Chopra says, superb stuff by everyone today. Ian, Knuckle, Dave, Alec, Bear, Grubby, Hendo, champions, all of you. Thanks a ton.
Thanks,
Thank you, Abhishek, for your support and your participation today. As ever, greatly appreciated. So, Knuckle, would you like to quickly summarise this one-day international today between Sri Lanka and England? England winning under Duckworth, Lewis Stern.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it didn't start well for England. Both sides unchanged, of course, with the rain-affected or really rain-ruined game in Dambulla the other day. Jason Roy went in the first over to shipping Malinga into covers, but then Johnny Bairstow didn't look great either. But then there was a very good partnership between Root and Morgan, playing the conditions perfectly on a piece that was decent and had some carry, but wasn't lightning quick. And those two really did the bulk of the work. And then the late surge from Lasith Malinga ripping through the England lower and middle order. It was only really, and then Adil Rashid and the again showing his worth with the bat with 19 off 15, including one glorious smash over point off the back foot that just cleared the man out there on the cover boundary. And then yeah, the story is that England have a lot of different ways of putting up competitive totals. Of Root and Morgan batting very sensibly, rotating the strike around off the spinners, which is something that England have struggled with, and a lot of teams struggle with against spin-friendly attacks. And that's exactly what you need to do. Is you need to be able to have single scoring options, take the boundaries where they come, and they will come. The way to make them come, if the bowlers aren't giving you anything, is to work singles around and make the bowlers change their lengths and change their plans, move the field around a little bit. Root and Morgan are both very good at that.
Yeah,
really
classic from Root and Morgan today, both seen at their best. I suppose the one positive you'd say from Sri Lanka's point of view would be the bowling of Malinga.
Malinga's been resurgent this year. He took 4 for in the first game of the Asia Cup for Sri Lanka. He's gone away and worked on his game. I mean, but certainly he looks fit, and he's bowling quickly, and he's getting those Yorkers in and the slower balls in, which have foxed so many for so long. He looks like as good a bowler as he's ever been, and if he can keep that going to the World Cup, Sri Lanka do have a strike weapon, and they're going to win some games off the back of it.
Absolutely.
And Akila Dhananjaya will have decent days. Would be interested to see if he opens the bowling at some point in this series. Of course, he's had a very good 2018. He's taken his wickets at 25 this year, I think, and many will remember him ripping through the Indian middle order in the ODI last year, taking 6. But yeah, the top order really had no answer to Stone and Woakes, who were both excellent.
Ollie Stone's first ODI, that was a terrific introduction by him, wasn't it? That first wicket was a great fast bowler's wicket, forcing Dick Weller back onto the back foot and having to take evasive action against him, popping the ball up to the wicketkeeper. So Ollie Stone will be pleased with that. Do you think that, with 140 for 5 in response, Sri Lanka just putting together a partnership, weren't they, when the rain came? 66 for that 5th wicket, or 6th wicket between Pereira and Silva. Do you think there's any chance they'd have got close?
No.
They might have made a game of it. I think they didn't have much after those. I mean, really, Dhananjaya's are not terrible with the bat, but certainly Sandhakan and Malinga and Pradeep are all fighting for number 11.
Yeah. And also, they just had they were half their wicket, half their batsmen were back in the hutch before they'd even got to the halfway point with runs. They were only ever really 1 wicket as soon as they'd lost their third wicket, they're only ever 1 wicket away from having to rebuild the innings entirely almost from scratch. So they were never, unless they could have, unless those two batsmen had somehow managed to hang around and see it out all the way to victory.
They were still scoring at 4.8 and over.
Well, that's the other thing.
Only 29 overs were gone.
Yeah,
140.
but the asking run rate was at that point nearly 6.5.
They'd have needed to take it probably into the last 7 or 8 overs, or if not more, for Sri Lanka to have a chance. Look, we might have had a game, we don't know, but England reaping the benefits of taking early wickets.
Yeah,
and even though they took 14 off and over from either Rashid, a couple of lovely shots down the ground by Thassara Pereira off Rashid, they were never ever close to the Duckworth-Lewis Stern part. And look, England can take from this what they found another way to win that isn't just crash bang wallopery from the batters. Moeen's bowling very well. Liam Dawson did his part, and I think will presumably play more part in the series. Although I think Plunkett is now back, isn't he? Because he's only going to miss the first 2 or 3 games of the series for his wedding.
He'll have a job getting his place back.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Maybe he comes in for Dawson on a different pitch, or maybe you try and play over. I think there is a possibility for shifting things around. Both the Curran brothers are in this squad, and haven't played a game yet. England are looking at their options. I think Stone looks promising.
If you pick Stone for this match, I'd give him at least 2 more. If nothing else,
Stone isn't the one I'd be resting, but maybe Wokes gets a rest.
Yeah,
maybe Dawson gets a rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, not a rest. He gets replaced. I'm still not sure that I would have Ben Stokes in my sort of first choice full strength England ODI 11.
Controversial.
I mean, what has Alex Hales done wrong to get dropped on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean Alex Hale. Ben Stokes is competing with really only a couple of other players to be the a sort of middle order all rounder type, whereas Alex Hales is, like I said earlier, trying to get into a top 5 top 4 that already has 5 or 6 players trying to squeeze its way in.
Sure, he's done very well whenever he's got the chance, and that's exactly how Johnny Bairstow got his way into the side. Look, it's definitely good for England to have 3 really good openers.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a fair few matches before the first game of the World Cup. They're going to have a 9-game World Cup, regardless of what does or doesn't happen, because that World Cup is so long.
Sure, and Owen Morgan's been talking about, and they've all been talking about. I think Butler said a similar thing. They don't just want 11 players all fit and firing and pulling in the right direction. They want 14, 15, 16, 17. They want that competition for places.
I can imagine Jason Roy being given a game or 2 off, perhaps against the West Indies.
Sure, I don't know if he'd want one, because if he gets a rest and then Alex Hales comes in and does well as he has done, does he get his place back? Look, the problem of plenty at the top of the order. Root and Morgan are both excellent. We know what Josh Butler can do.
If Alex Hales wanted to be in this squad, he shouldn't have gone out drinking in Bristol last year.
Well, maybe, but
he made a very stupid off-field decision that made dropping him a necessity. Johnny Bairstow was brought in, asked to open, which he'd never done in international cricket.
Wasn't it Roy that they brought back in? Because Roy got dropped during the Champions Trophy.
Sorry, yes, you're right. But yeah, either way, a batsman who'd been dropped was brought back in and instantly started scoring runs again, and the shot closed up. I feel sorry for him. There's something happened that wasn't entirely of his doing, but a series of poor decisions were made. Some of them by him, some of them not by him, and now he's out the squad. And now he's out the team. He's still in the squad, and he's going to get his chances again.
Yeah, for the bowling, England are still trying to find their best bowling line. Plunkett is definitely in it. Wokes is definitely in it. Rashid and Moeen are definitely in it. And there's spaces up for grabs. Maybe it's Ollie Stone. Maybe it's one of the Curran brothers. Tom Curran did really well in that series in Australia. Took a 5 in the last ODI. We shall see what England go with in Pallekele. Different conditions.
But must be said, this is a nice thing for being nice position.
Nice problem to have.
Nice problem for an England fan, because how often a year before the World Cup, 6 months before the World Cup's due to start, do we sit around going, "Oh my God, is this what we've got to work with?" I mean, do you remember how last time England were in Sri Lanka, they were trying to work out how on earth they were going to get a firing team out of a side that was still required to select Alistair Cook for a job that he obviously was no longer
we
up
did
for.
that series, and it dragged. It dragged from watching a very uncompetitive England team against a very good Sri Lankan team.
More, Cook was injured, Cook was ill or dropped. He was out for a game or two, and England started looking better again. They moved Moeen Ali up to open,
won the game,
and and suddenly they were looking like a squad that knew how to play.
Let's not delve back into those dark and dismal days. But
let's focus on the future.
England
cricket coming up this week.
Yeah, England are in good form. With they look ahead to Wednesday, which is the next game that we'll be covering here on the Gorilla Cricket UK arm. Tomorrow, that's from Pallekele, starting at 10 in the morning. That's a day-night game, in fact.
Yeah.
I think GC South Africa will be on for the last T20 of the South Africa-Zimbabwe series tomorrow. I think that starts at 1:30 BST. Listen to them. They've been doing excellent work. They're fledglings. They're trying to learn how to. They're just getting their flight feathers in. They're just trying to learn how to throw themselves off a cliff and not crash into the rocks below.
Yes.
But give them a listen. They've been very, very good. Simon Gear et al. Yes, so those are the two games that are coming up next on Gorilla Cricket and Gorilla Cricket South Africa. Thank you to everyone who's been with us both in here. So we're talking Hendo, we're talking the Bear, we're talking Grubby, we're talking Ian, we're talking Tony Bishop, we're talking David Brooke, we're talking Alec Patton, and we're talking myself, Knuckle M. Pandey. And we will sign off. Thank you all very much for your company of this sort of game and a half that we've covered. 2 games, 4 teams, 2 formats, 2 countries. The cricket never sleeps, and neither do we. Join us again here on Gorilla Cricket UK on Wednesday, and if you so desire, on GCS8 tomorrow. Bye!
Bye!
Guerrilla Cricket.